in a vacation day. Today is May 14, the year with me is the 2026. Welcome. This is Abed to D4. You just listened to Class Reloaded, and now this is the time we bring you Abed to D4. So let me say good evening to you, Mr. Wright, and seeing the veteran, the Fred Smith is coming. I'd like to say good evening to you, Mr. Smith, and good evening to the people of Grand Jita County. This is Abed to D4. So, Mr. Fred, the veteran Smith, good evening, sir, and welcome.
Good evening, Chris. Chris.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. How's everything?
We give praises to God. We are doing very great by the grace of God. How yourself, sir?
All right, gentlemen. We have the guest in the back. Let me bring him on. Mr. Johnson, how you doing today, sir?
I'm doing very well. Nice to meet you.
Okay. That's good. Um, all right. So you're giving your trouble with the middle name today. How you pronounce the middle name?
It's Nupolu. The Nina difficult.
Nupolu.
Nupolu,
What does it mean?
Impele means supporting someone.
Supporting someone. Okay.
Or in simple Liberian terminology, we say when you behind someone, you're standing behind someone.
Yeah, that's right. Nupolu. I'm trying to translate it into my own dialect. Crime. See, okay. Yeah. See if it got any similarity to it.
I hear you.
But yeah, when I got the name to that, I said that name it got some little crime connotation to it. Nupolu, because polu means to say something. Ain't crime. Okay. Yeah, but I knew kind of throw it off. Yeah, polu. Polu means to say something. Polu, Well, Mr. Johnson, you are a very busy man, and we'd appreciate you taking off your time to be with us here on this platform. And we want to thank the veteran Smith for working hard, making sure. I heard that you're a very difficult man to get.
The only thing I'll say is I try.
You sure do. But yeah, man, it's good having quality guests like you and many others that come through, because we need to have this conversation, just what you're doing for the country and for our society, and the upcoming generation. We need to talk to you on this platform, and we're having you here. So at this time, we'd like to go straight into the show. But before we do that, let me just say one or two things we do here. We do that customarily. To give you a rundown. So the show, we want to start a show. And then halfway through the show, Mr. Johnson, we're going to go to the lines, to the listeners, and they will call in and either ask you questions or they're going to comment. And then we're going to come back to you and then ask you to respond to the callers. And then after that, we're just going to the free flow and then to the end of the show. But before we start the show, I'd like to do a formal introduction. And so let me start with myself. My name is Archie Wright. I will be your co-host for the show tonight. I'm not sure if our host is coming on because I see somebody else in the studio. And then I'll go around the table so that the other panelists can introduce themselves. And then we'll go to Fred, the veteran Smith. He will start with you with a questioning. And then we're going to go around the table with the other panelists. In the process of the show, Mr. Johnson, because we do have a very large panelist pool, and they're going to be trickling in as the show goes on. And as they do, we will have them introduce themselves to you going forward. So, welcome to Abed to Differ, Mr. Johnson. This is Top FM 105.3. We stream live out of Zwedru City, Zulu Whiskey, Grand Jita County, the southeast of Liberia. We are live on Facebook, on YouTube. on the radio, as I said, in Zwedru, and on our website, www.topfmliberia.com. Having said that, I want to go around the table now to Mr. Wright, Mr. A.D. Wright, no relations. Mr. Wright, please introduce yourself to our guests.
Yeah, thank you. But I beg to say, I'm using a laptop that was just issued me, and I don't know the technical part of it to get a camera working. Yeah, so that's why you are not seeing me in the video yet. So I'm going to be using this laptop going forward, and sometimes the phone. But I will work on the camera, and maybe by tomorrow it will be able to function.
Great.
It is completely new. Back to the show. So, Mr. Johnson, my name is Amos D. Wright. I am a civil society actor, specifically in the land governance sector. We are helping the government with the implementation of the land rights law. So we are in the communities, helping the communities to formalize and to know what their rights are, how they can use their land for economic security. So that's me, that's Mr. Wright. As we go on, maybe when we have you again, then we can talk on other things. But that's what we should take for the night.
All right. Thank you, Mr. A.D. Wright. Let's go now to Chris Beware in the studio there. Mr. Chris Beware, please introduce yourself to our guests. We're not hearing you. Chris. We're not hearing you, Chris. Oh, there you go. Good. Oh, there you go.
Okay. Are you getting me now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'd like to say good evening to everyone, to all of the panelists, and also to our guests. You are most welcome. This is Alberto D4. It's a Top FM 105.3, and my name is Chris Beware. I'm seated at control tonight for us to discuss whatever we have. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Ware. Now, Mr. Ware, Veteran Smith. He will either introduce you. I don't know how it was arranged between the both of y'all. He will introduce himself and then pass it on to you, and then you introduce yourself. Then he goes into the questioning and we'll begin the show. So, Veteran Smith, it's up to you, sir.
Good evening to the people of the southeastern region. Good evening to the people of Zwedru and all of the counties in Liberia. A happy Unification Day. We are grateful indeed to have our special guest, Leo Nupolo Johnson, as our special guest today for Liberia Learning Center. And my name is Fred Smith, the moderator. The producer of today's show, and also
you're trying to overturn it right here. I ain't gonna do it.
No, I said I slipped the tongue slip, producer. And Chris also have producer. Welcome to this Unification Day production. My name is Fred Veteran Smith. People know me well in the media range, and so that's so much. Let me go directly into the program. So it's a pleasure to have as our special guest again, Leo Nupolo Johnson, executive leader of Assistant Thinker and social entrepreneur, human rights, and EDR specialist as our special guest. As our special guest for today's edition. Yeah, as our special guest for today's program. Come back. Yeah, correct. 100. Oh, yeah, okay, come back. 25? Yeah, correct. Come back. Yeah, as our special guest for today's edition of I Bet to Difference. So welcome to the show. So as I was introducing our guest, Leo Nupolu Johnson is an executive leader and system level strategist whose work reaches community transformation in Canada and sustainable development in West Africa, with life experience shaped by 8 years in refugee camp in Cote d'Ivoire and Ghana before resettling in Canada in 2006. Leo brings both cultural intelligence and technical expertise to his leadership. In 2007, he founded Empowerment Squared, an international recognizable charitable organization committed to empowering marginalized youth and communities through education, mentorship, system navigation under his leadership. The organization supports more than 10,000 youth and families annually in Canada and West Africa and has mobilized multi-million dollar investment in community infrastructure, education, and innovation. Leo is a visionary behind the Liberian Learning Center, which houses Liberian only public library and one of the country's most environmentally sustainable buildings, demonstrating a more model of diaspora-led a multi-sector sustainable development initiative. His leadership integrates philanthropic public policy, education system, and private sector partnership to produce scalable, equitable center solution. As president of the Liberian Association of Canada, Leo led a comprehensive organization transformation over 4 years. He increased annual revenue from $5,000 to more than $350,000, strengthening governance framework, formalized financial accountability system, secure federal capacity building funding, and launched nationally co-coordinated program focused on youth and women empowerment. His tenure repositioned the organization as a credible national voice within the Canadian civil landscape. Leo is a United Nations trained human rights expert as a equity, diversity, and inclusion EDI specialist, applying socially conscious human rights center and trauma-informed framework to institutional reform, leadership development, and policy advocacy. His system thinking approach center dignity, culture, intelligence, and long-term structure change rather than short-term pragmatic fix. Recognized globally for his impact, he is a United Nations Fellow for the International Decade for People of African Descent, recipient of the YMCA Peace Medal and Gandhi Peace Award, City of Hamilton World Citizenship Award, MC Master University Global Community Impact Award. He served as a lecturer and instructor in higher education and sought after keynote speaker on system change, refugees, resilience, diaspora leadership, and sustainable development. Leadership philosophy is grounded in one core principle: transformation happens when community move for surviving system to reshaping them. So it's an honor and pleasure to welcome as our special guest to this Unification Day in Liberia for Leo Lupolu, who happens to be in America at this time. Welcome to I Bet to Differ program on Tap FM 105.3. Welcome to this Unification Day. Of all the days, Leo, you decided to come to this show. Today is Unification Day. Welcome to the show, Leo.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Much appreciated.
And since you focus too much on transforming people, what unification means to you as you come as our special guest, what it means to you.
No, thank you. And actually, it's great to meet you as well, Mr. Amos V. Wright. It's great to meet you, Chris. Good to meet you as well. I've been speaking to Fred, the veteran Smith, so I don't need to introduce myself to him anymore. But yeah, when we Unification, I tend to often say I have a more radical look on the concept of unification. I think we should be fostering unity of purpose and not unity of people. That's how I look at it, because by human nature, you put two people in a room, you get 5 opinions. That's just human nature for you. And if you keep going, coming back, those opinions might keep changing depending on where you meet them. So most of the time we struggle with wanting to get people united as the individuals rather than fostering the purpose that can facilitate common goals. I often put it this way. When I walk in a room and they get rice and fufu, I love rice, I love fufu. I don't have to start the conversation by saying I hate rice. Because if I say I hate rice, other people who eating rice will have to now defend themselves as to why they are eating rice. I can simply say, oh man, just give me my fufu. I will take fufu. I can eat my fufu and live in peace. We can talk. Nobody will even know that I hate that rice. And we all can focus on what we were there for. But most of the time, we tend to focus on the things we are against most than the things that we are for. So for me, unity is unity of purpose. Once we've established the purpose for which we are here, we don't have to be disunited, because for those who it does not work for, it's okay. We will keep moving. If you can join at some point, we'll welcome you. So yes, my understanding of unity on this National Unification Day is, as a country, for example, we need to establish our nation-building principles and objectives as to where we want to go, and then mobilize our people behind it, rather than wanting to unite our people first before we determine what we want to actually do.
I read your bio, very impressive. But I want to ask you, your journey, how that journey transformed into this empowerment square. How you got there? Did you ever thought that you would reach empowerment square through your journey? How you got to empowerment square?
Thank you. To be honest, the short answer to start with is no. I never sat down one day and had this grandiose vision that I was going to have Empowerment Squared. In fact, when I came to Canada, I was a very young man. I left home at the age of 14. I ended up in La Côte d'Ivoire on my own. Then the war started. We fled to Ghana and then came to Canada as a very young man. But something struck me when I got here. I was in a hotel where I used to watch TV, and I saw people talking about a number of kids that were dropping out of school, out of high school. So I was very confused, because, here you don't pay out of pocket to go to high school. You literally can go to school even if your parents don't have money. You have to be a post-secondary before you start to really pay out of pocket. So I was so confused. How these children don't have to pay school fee, and then they don't go to school, they're dropping out of school. Because where we come from, if your parents don't have the cash to pay your tuition, that's a serious trouble for you. And then I started to dig a little deeper and saw that there were much more complicated systemic issues that young people were dealing with here. And I thought to myself that, you know what, as much as I came to Canada to try and make a new life for myself, I realized I had a lot more I could offer, given my experiences as a young man, graduating from high school on a refugee camp, navigating those spaces, and some of the things that we learned in terms of resilience. And that's how I started with Empowerment Squared, around really looking at how we could improve educational outcomes for kids who were struggling, especially refugees that were coming to Canada, immigrants, and Black kids that were dropping out of school. And through that process of innovating in that space, somebody told me, say, you will get in trouble one day when all these kids started coming, 30, 40 of them. I said, why? They said, because in this country, you are dealing with what they call the vulnerable population. You don't got insurance. You're not an organization. God forbid if something ever goes wrong, you got a big lawsuit sitting on your head. And that's how I said, but then I'm not going to give this up, because there was too much happening at the time already, the number of kids that were coming. And that's how I started to work with a bunch of my colleagues, started Empowerment Squared as a one-man show at the time, and started to work at it. Long story short, this vision has grown into what it has grown into today, with over 25 staff, 2 locations in Canada, work in Ghana and work in Liberia.
And that vision seems to be still growing. We'll get to some of the video clips that will speak of itself, of what you have done over the year. But the video that caught my attention and you were shocked about, with someone giving you $1 million after you have accomplished something positive, and you were shocked. Take us through that movement for the second phase of Empowerment Square when you got that money.
Yeah, it is. It is still surreal and unbelievable. By the way, that was my first time holding a $1 million check. Um, yeah, no, we have been fundraising, as many people would know, to build the Liberian Learning Center in Liberia. It was quite a journey. It was not easy. I will not lie to anybody. It was very difficult because, unlike America, in Canada, you have to spend your first 30 minutes telling people where the heck is Liberia in the first place and what country is that before even you start the conversation, compared to the United States, where there's more awareness about where and what Liberia is. Canada was a very strange territory in terms of what is Liberia and where is this country located. Long story short, we went through, people entrusted us with their hard-earned money. So most of them had never even been to Liberia yet to see what the place looks like. We went to Liberia and accomplished that feat of building the Liberia Learning Center. And what I tend to do often, 1 year after it's been in operation, we have invited a lot of our donors in the community to celebrate, to show them the impact of what their support has been able to do in Liberia with the Learning Center, which is just the due diligence of reporting back to donors whenever they support you. And we show the features of the building. And in fact, in just 1 year, the building has been listed by an international publication in Europe as one of the top 100 libraries to visit before you die in the world. So we are listed alongside the Smithsonian and some of the greatest world libraries you can already think about. And we reported, and I went to my seat, and one of the gentlemen who has been a supporter of the project from phase 1 came up and invited me back on stage and said he had a guest prize that he wanted to give us. And I said, okay. He handed me the envelope to open the envelope. I opened the envelope, and at first I thought it was $100,000. And as I was glossing my eyes across the page, the zeros kept going. So I'm like, okay, no, maybe I shouldn't call it. Let me read the amount. You know, to check how you write the number, and then you write it out in words. And as I started to read, indeed, it was $1 million. I froze for a second because that's no small amount of money to be handed to you in one check. And he said that they were so impressed with what we have been able to accomplish with the first phase that we have not even started the fundraising for the second phase yet. But he wanted to get the second phase fundraising started with a $1 million check from him and his family.
What to individual, what it means to your Liberian Learning Center, and then we'll go around ask people to ask you a question. One is Reverend Honorable Emmett Dunn and our own Miata Herring there. What these two individuals, I know there are many people, sometimes you get all the praises, but what these two people means to the center?
Yeah. You know, there's a deep value in those who have the ability to see the vision beyond when it's not even practical, when it's still on paper, when you have not even raised the money that's needed. And I would describe these two individuals in that context. I mean, Reverend Emmett Dunn was someone who I reached out to at the time, years ago, and basically said to him, I'm looking for some support, not just support in terms of financial donation, but also leadership. And I would love to invite you to not just support us, but to see if you can support as a member of our board. And that's a big ask, and I had all these grandiose ideas on paper, but there was not much. And Reverend Emmett Dunn step up. He didn't want to step up through his personal means, but went out there, hit the pavement, raised a lot of money to help support this. And I like to call her Ente Miata. Ente Miata, who's actually watching, was one of those people who just heard about this online. I had not known Ente Miata from anywhere. She just heard me on one of my Facebook Lives that I often do and reached out to me immediately and told me what you're doing are the type of things I've always dreamed for Liberia. In fact, I've been doing some of that on my own, but I wanted to make sure what you're trying to do is successful. She did not only make financial contributions. She actually went to Liberia multiple times when the foundation was just even being constructed. She will go to that site, if anybody knows Ente Miata, and would encourage those guys on the site that were building, that were working, and letting them know, whatever you do, you better don't try nonsense here. They're bidding better. You better bid it, bidding correctly like your own. And she's continued to do it. Anybody who knows Ente Miata, you know her already. Like Mami Pepe, so she doesn't joke around. But it says a lot. When, we can get all the $1 million check and all of that, that's great. But when you find Liberians who understand the value of the long-term system level thinking of what is needed to at a big level to transform Liberia, that can build that trust even before the vision is actualized, for me, that's a massive vote of confidence. And it's donations and contributions like that from people like Ente Miata or Reverend Emmett Dunn that led to other people knowing that, okay, this thing is going somewhere if people can be willing to put their vote of confidence into it.
Okay.
Mr.
Fred, let hold you there. Let hold you there. Let's welcome Mr. Nubo to the platform. Mr. Nubo, introduce yourself, please, to our guests.
Oh, I'm Mr. George Numbo. From the perspective, nice to meet you, Mr. Johnson. I heard about you before, no, but this the first time meeting you, and I hope you will enjoy the show. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nubo. Chris, do you have any question or comment for Mr. Johnson?
Yes, indeed. I have a question. So I'd like to say I have a question. Thanks so much. My question have to do with how can Liberia in the diaspora help develop Liberia? How can Liberian in the diaspora help develop Liberia? That's my first question.
Thank you. Thank you, Chris. So here's what the first thing I would say. Liberians in the diaspora, my advice to a lot of people has always been to stop treating Liberia like a relief project. Right? You know, the war in Liberia lasted so long that our society normalized relief as a way of being. What do I mean by that? At times, we seem to be responding to crisis all the time, Liberians in the diaspora. And, you know, cheery and hungry, there is flooding in this place, so we respond. And, you know, we raise money or whatever we do, we send it there. Oh, there's another emergency, we do that, we send it there. We have had an opportunity to live in societies in the diaspora where we see what long-term thinking looks like. Where before even to build a public school, the people will come put a billboard there, put a sign on the billboard and say community consultations and information sessions for the first 2, 3, 4 years, where they'll do an environmental impact study for another 1 to 2 years. By the time the school gets built, it's probably sometime 8 to 10 years of systematic approach to what they're trying to do because it's for the long term. So for Liberians in the diaspora, one, I think we all need to find what we ought to do for our country within our means, right? A lot of Liberians love to come up with things that sometimes is not within your means. Find what that means is. If that means is building one public toilet in your community, in your neighborhood, think about how you can do it in a sustainable way. Or if your means is joining something that's already happening at the system level, so you don't have to worry for it to be in your individual name. That's why the Learning Center is not called Leo Johnson Learning Center. It's called the Liberian Learning Center. Because the goal was to be able to mobilize multiple people's support behind it. So for Liberians in the diaspora, I'm not against the small, right? If the small is all you want to do, that's up to you. But the small is not going to facilitate nation building. It's going to facilitate crisis intervention, which is what the UN used to do for us for the last 20 years. They kind of distribute rice. We eat it, we get hungry again. They distribute beans, they distribute cocodolo, oil, all the things they used to do. The war is over now. We are dealing with our own country. We need to think about how we support things that are system level transformational projects that we know will be there for 100 years to come, for 75 years to come. Because when we mobilize our resources in that way, we get a lot more. Everybody don't have to be a CEO. Everybody don't have to be a director. Everybody don't have to start their own organization, because once you proliferate the space with so many little organizations, you just splice the resources in multiple ways that would never get you to do anything major. We'll continue to just do small. And every 5 years, we'll ask ourselves, why are we right back to where we were? So that's my advice to Liberians in the diaspora.
Okay, thank you so much. You are doing well. My second question have to do with what is your long-term vision for Liberia and its young generation? What is your long-term vision for Liberia and its young generation? Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. My long-term vision for Liberia is to really get the young generation of Liberia a new experience. And I'll say what I mean by that. You know, those of us who are here, I'm much younger. So before the war, I was too young to have a full understanding, of where our society was. When I started to know myself and understand myself, it was during the war. So my point of reference is the war. I've been fortunate to travel from Liberia and live in other countries now where I have a new point of reference. But any Liberian my age group that never left the country, your understanding of Liberia was the war. So right now in your mind, the country that paradise. Because people like to tell us about Normandy, but Normandy that taught a story for us. It's a fairy tale, right? Good luck convincing a young Liberian who never left Liberia that Normandy, there was a time where the Liberian dollar was 1-to-1 with the US dollar. You look crazy to them. Good luck telling a young Liberian that Japan and Liberia had the same GNP at one point, the same gross national product at one point in time. We destroyed the country so badly that there is no example left to reference for anybody to see. So my vision for Liberia is to give young Liberians a new experience that will force them to rise beyond the mediocrity that we see in Liberia right now, where people do little things. People build community centers. When you go see them, you wonder why there was a chicken poultry that they were actually building and not for human beings, right? Where people do all these things, but our young people accept it, because if it is your first time ever seeing it, let me give you this. Maya Angelou said it well. You will forget what people said to you. You will even forget what people did to you, but you will never forget how people made you feel. So with the Learning Center for me was that first example. I want young Liberians to experience something that sets a standard. I want anybody to come and do something like creates a mediocrity and they'll be able to tell the person, say, you know what, that your thing you're doing over there is for your one. Because we seem better, we know better, and we will aspire for better. What you do, thank you, that what you can do. But that is not the best, because we've seen better than that. That is my vision for young Liberians, so that they can start to aspire for the best and not for the least. But right now, the least is the best, because if all you've experienced is that, when somebody gave it to you, I will close with this. I have an old Toyota Highlander in Liberia, old one, not even the newer one, some of the old models. Whenever I go, I can go for the children in the yard to carry them for ice cream. When I put it in a car, we go Shacks and get ice cream and bring them back. For 2 weeks, so kids will keep talking. You know, sit down, Uncle Leo car, the car can just swallow you. The thing is just like this. That's experience. You can unexperience that for them. They will never forget that experience. So if they get a chance to ever save money to buy a car for themselves in their future, they will aspire for better, because they know what it takes to sit down in a comfortable car. Even though that old Toyota, but because inside it's clean and it's comfortable, it left them with an unforgettable experience.
All righty. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. I go to Mr. A.D. Wright. Mr. A.D. Wright, your questions, please.
You
I'm
are
not
muted,
hearing you.
sir.
All right. What I was saying is I prefer to learn a bit more from the exchanges, and then the next round I'll be able to ask questions. I'm learning
Okay.
quickly at the moment. Let me continue that for now.
All right, sir. Thank you. Mr. George Newbo. Mr. Newbo?
Yes, though I just came in, but my understanding is that the Fabulous Center is built in Painesville. Why Painesville? Was it due to land issue?
That's a good question. No, not due to land issue. So
Okay.
first of all, we researching in Liberia. Nobody knew at the time. We started research when Otello Gonga was Minister of Education at the time.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
okay.
how far back this project goes. And I know a lot of people don't know that part. We spent 6 years researching. We went to 13 of the 15 counties in Liberia. The only 2 counties we never went to were Maryland and River G at the time, because the roads were almost impassable. We tried 3 times and we
Right.
just could not get through at the time. We spent at least 2 weeks in each of these counties. I came back to Canada with over 1 terabyte worth of recordings, audio recording, notes taken, talking to people to just understand, because Monrovia is not Liberia. And once we did the research, we realized that we had to put it to a place for where the viability of the things we were testing will make sense, but the accessibility of the type of things you needed will make sense, so that once that pilot becomes a success, your chances are greater. Then you can better understand how to replicate it in more remote areas. There's places that would be with less resources, for example. So Monrovia was a bit too congested. So we decided, obviously, now Monrovia, what would be the next major urban center at the time? So Painesville naturally became that next place. The reason it is at the City Hall, people always ask me why on the Painesville City Hall compound.
Sally Constance.
We were trying to demonstrate a lesson. The money we raised to build that center was not Leo Johnson personal money. We raised it from the public. It was public dollars. And the project we were trying to do was not Leo Johnson private library. It was a public learning center. So we're trying to demonstrate to people that we must do things properly. Just because you let the government are in power doesn't mean you shouldn't try to do things properly. We cannot always think that we'll always get a government win. Like one day you might get a government that does it right and do it properly. So we chose a public space so that tomorrow, the day Leo Johnson get crazy and decide he doesn't want to be involved with that thing anymore, his family people can claim it. Or the day he no more, it can be on private land. It will ever remain for the public because that land are over there, that all our own it. No one person has an entitlement to it. But secondly, it forces government to elevate their standards, right? When then you can't avoid it. You can't excuse yourself anymore. You can continue to learn how to get better, how to match the standards that are there. So those are some of the strategic thinking around how you facilitate public spaces again so that all of our public spaces don't become only privately owned. We can start to invest in public spaces as well.
So it is around Painesville City Hall?
Right on the compound of Painesville City Hall.
Oh, okay. Yeah, thank you. I'll keep on listening, because I just came.
All right, thank you, Mr. Nubo. Mr. Johnson, let me engage you for a while here. So what's the capacity of the building?
It's a very interesting question. The building is about 13,000 square foot. Those that are in construction, it's a pretty massive. In terms of capacity, it can be broken down in several ways. One, we do have a dedicated children's library that has capacity of easily at least 150 to 175 people in a dedicated children's space. We have about 3 major conference rooms. The smallest can take about 75. The largest can take about 125. We have a dedicated adult library that takes another probably 150 in terms of capacity. We have a lounge, a reading lounge that would take about 25 to 30 in the reading lounge. We have a co-working spaces for those in North America who know what those look like. Each of the bigger co-working spaces can take up to 6 small organizations working collaboratively, about 3 of them. And then we have the smaller co-working spaces that take 1 organization each. We also have a dedicated space for a dedicated radio station that will only be doing educational programming in terms of educational content exclusively. That has been worked too. So the building square footage is huge in terms of capacity itself.
Okay, so I watched a video of one young lady who was going to, I think, do some work at the library. And she said on the tape, this place is it's a startup space. What does that mean for a guy like for other listening into the show? Talk to them. What does that mean when you say it's startup? Yeah. I mean, people throw that word around so much that for me, I've lost the meaning of it. But anyway, talk to what is that?
So there's a key distinction. First of all, a lot of people like we're used to libraries, right? The space is a learning center and not a library. The library is just one component of the learning.
We gotta keep saying that because it's a library.
It's a library.
It's a library.
Yeah.
Library. Yeah. It's learning center, my people.
Yeah, it is a learning center. The learning center has 2 libraries in it. It has an adult library. It has a children's library. So a learning center is a newer concept to Liberia. A learning center is a space that facilitates educational outcomes at all levels. Libraries are very particular things that have educational resources, right, that you go to. So it's not a library, it's a learning center. But I know everybody just come on, so I wanted to make that distinction. But to your question about the word startup, so she was referring to the small business incubation places that we have. So what that does for us is that Let's say you were a one-person small entrepreneur venture, and you just got started. You're running a low up.
Chris,
Yeah, I was getting a bit of an echo there.
That's not
And
Chris.
you're-
That was my fault, gentlemen. Chris is
Yeah, and you're running a little two-people operation. You're a startup, right? You don't have the financial capacity to go rent your own office, to pay for your own overhead admin cost. So you can apply to the Learning Center to get one of our co-working spaces. So you are allowed to be there for up to at least a maximum 2 years. So what that does with that application is, and the monthly fee is anywhere between $60, I think, to $100 or so, depending on how much space you're actually taking up. So it covers your electricity. Current would never go. We made a commitment. You will always have electricity. Current would never go over there. That part whether there's LEC or not, there will always be electricity.
Okay.
You also have access to unlimited internet, top notch. You don't have to pay for your own internet. You have access to all of the resources in the space. You have access to all of our programming that goes on. You have access to our receptionist. So you already pay for yourself a receptionist, because all the groups in there, if somebody comes in as a receptionist to cater to them if they came to see your office. You have a nice, beautiful office that you're working from. So what it's meant to do is to give you the buffer of almost reducing your overhead costs to 5% over 2 years, so that you can innovate to build the business. So that within the space of 2 years, if you still don't know how to run a business, then you should quit business. That means the business is not for you. You just don't know how. But in the space of 2 years, it's enough time. So then that group can leave, then another group can come in. So at every given time, we are rotating people coming so that more and more people can benefit. So when we say a startup, is the true definition of the word a startup that gave you that leg up for up to 2 years to be able to get out.
Okay. So for my low picking and listening, Zaitan, Grandview County, Kavala District. Let dig deeper into what you mean by when you say startup. So for example, I'm running my low plank business.
Yeah.
I'm cutting my plank somewhere, in the forest area there in Montserrat, Todi area.
Yeah.
And I want to build my clientele. I want to get my customers around. Yeah. But I need to sit down somewhere and be able to put that, customer list together. Yep. And maybe sit on the phone where I ain't got nobody cussing up in my ear and say, "Oh, hello, John Brown. You know what I mean? Or starting playing. I'm a plane gonna need today. I get it. We're playing looking for that kind of thing." Yeah. Now, do you have somebody there? I know you said they are a receptionist, but is there, I'm talking in the sense of startup now.
Yeah.
Are there people, subject matter people, experts there to guide the startup in the process? Simple budgeting. Simple, following business plans, just the business etiquette from the ground level. Yep. Are there people at the center to do that?
The answer is yes. In fact, there is a robust program called the HOPE program. So harnessing opportunities to promote entrepreneurship. Okay. That's basically what the program is. So what that program does, most of our late beginning you're referring to, so they are what I call serial entrepreneurs. They're hustlers. They wake up in the morning, rain or shine. They get out there, they do their thing, they earn a little bit. Most of the time, what we notice, before we did this project, also we did another 1 year research. What we noticed is that they're lacking things like financial literacy, right? How to structure that business, so from just setting plan to owning a truck in 2 years, from owning a truck to owning 2 trucks. From owning 2 trucks to owning a processing plant for taking the log into actual plank yourself. So they don't have that ability. So you can see one man selling plank, 10 years later, he's still selling plank to the same plank fee where he was sitting down. He hasn't moved 1 inch from that place. So what the program does, it take the exact business that you're already doing, whatever it is, walks you through a practical process. No book people been in the one. I need to know book. Let you build a business plan on experiential basis, not writing plenty of paper that got 50 pages. No. Take your plan, say your whole plan business at how much, for example. Your whole plan business, maybe let's say that $500. And your whole inventory, everything you get, that $500, the worth of that business. Help you see how that $500 is broken down in terms of cost. Where are you spending money? How much you spend for power saw? How much you spend for this? We put all of that into a process. Then we say, okay, if their whole business ran at $500, we project how much money would you need to double your operation in a year or in 2 years or in 3 years? And what is the way you can raise that money? Then we carry them through financial literacy. What does it mean when they say principal? What does it mean when they say profit? Because in Liberia, here's what profit is for most of them. I buy $300 plane, right? I sell a plane, I got $450, my profit $150. That's a lie. Your profit is not $150. You actually only calculated the actual capital cost that you spend. That who will pay the person who's selling the plane every day? What is salary coming for the person too? All the money you used to buy fried fish and cassava grade when you were selling, where did that money coming out from? How come you never included it, right? You that selling, even at your own business, you need to carve out what is the salary you would have paid if you were hiring somebody to be selling that plane for you. Because if you should grow as a business, that's where you will be going. When you not calculate all of that, when you take it on now, it's money before you can genuinely say you actually made profit. So we walk them through that program as a startup in there. You have access to that program as well. So just an example of what the program does. It allows you the eye opener that gives and things like customer service. A lot of them don't know that. Let me give you an example. We've gone through 580 people through the program so far. Of the 580, not a single one of them had a bank account. Not a single one. They're all doing a hard cash operation. And, you know, get the cash, you do it, you move it around. The cash operation. So they didn't understand what kind of benefit it is to go get bank account because you got to pay bank fees every month. So most of them, they didn't think, why would I go be paying fee to bank just to keep my money? In fact, most of them think my mattress safer. My mattress more safer than putting my money in the bank. So I did a test with one of them one time. We had a catering contract, right? We're hosting something at the center. Woman can cater, really good catering. We've experienced it before. She won't get a contract, a $4,000 contract. So she came. So I told her, I said, because I get audited every year, I can't pay cash. I must pay you in check. I can't pay any random person. It must be a business. I must prove to auditors that whoever did that transaction, I can't just say, oh, woman cater behind the hall there, how catering, how I get the money to. So I said, you see now, the benefit of a bank account and registering is that if you're not, the $4,000 contract that you could get, I can give it to you. We check for a small business like all her taxes, if she's registered for the whole year, would be around 4,000 Liberian dollar. I say US dollar for her category. Because you know, no education. People, oh, LRA tax. They don't even investigate to see what actually it is. People just get scared. So guess what happened? We're able to get her registered, get her bank account. The total cost for doing all of that was less than 100 US dollar, but she got a $4,000 catering contract by just spending 100 US dollars to get all of those things, those paperwork and everything intact. So to answer your question, that is why we call it a startup, but that is why the space is also referred to as an incubation space.
Yeah.
And sometimes we identify needs of these businesses, and then we recruit resources that can help them on simple things like bookkeeping, financial literacy, management, customer service. When you say your business open 9 o'clock, but 10 o'clock, people come to the place, oh, today morning the children were crying, and the reason why I didn't come 9. And, you know, how does that affect your business? It takes away reliability. Nobody can count on you that you will be there when they show up there.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Johnson Lowe. I want to tell all of y'all in the comment section, you're commenting heavily. Please, we're going to open the lines. I beg you,
You're muted.
call.
Yeah, we can't hear you, actually. We're not hearing you.
You're not hearing me? I'm not muted, though.
I don't know what just happened, but we can't. There's no audio from your end.
Nobody on the platform can hear me?
We still can't hear you.
I can hear you.
We can see you.
I can hear you.
I can hear you.
Hold on, is it just me? Maybe I'm the one having the problem. Can you guys hear me?
We can. I can
Yeah,
hear you. I can
yeah.
hear you.
Maybe I'm the one having everybody else here. I see. So maybe let me go out and come back in.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, so I'm
Well, I
going to
could
go out
hear
and
you.
come back in.
Yeah. But Leo,
I can hear him. He said, let me go out and come back in.
oh, he dropped. Okay. I don't know why he couldn't hear me, though. I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know. Because everything's still the same. Everything is still the same. I was going to do this. Mr. Lippin, we'll do the guy that he comes back. And then we're going to come to you. You're going to introduce yourself. And then we're going to go around and take one more questioning before we go to the lines. Okay, Leo is back. He hears me. Johnson, can you hear me now? Excellent. Okay. Mr. Nippet, please introduce yourself to the guests, and then we're going to come back to you after that. Mr. Nippet.
Welcome, welcome, Mr. Johnson. My name is Christopher J. Nippy, and I am one of the panelists. I don't know whether I've met you before, but I do know that you reside in Canada, if that is true. And I don't know whether you are the Leo, whether it is Nopal, the middle name Johnson.
That is correct. That's me.
Oh, I think I met you in Canada before. And it's a pleasure having you, a young man with a very, very, very wide mind, a young man with a vision, so that Liberia cannot perish. So welcome on the show, sir. And
Thank
those
you.
of you in Radio Land, I'm the same Christopher J. Nippy. My pleasure.
Thank you, Mr. Christopher J. Nippet. So we're going to come back to you one more round around the table, and then we'll go to the lines. So, Mr. Veteran Smith, they have you do 2 questions each, and then we'll come back and hear to the lines. 2 questions, sir.
Yes, CEO Leo Johnson, let's help us understand how it works internationally in terms of empowerment. Although the video, I would love for it to be played, you collaborate with other people internationally, students from how that works and how would that impact Liberia?
We'll play the
Yeah.
videos when we come back, guys. Okay?
Okay. Yeah. So let me lay this out a little bit. There are 2 things in Liberia that I've always struggled with. So, like I said, because we got used to being a relief-based society, we also became very transactional, focused only on short-term emergencies. And that was okay during the war, because during the war, there was no way to think about long-term, and we didn't know what was going to happen. So we were all trying to figure out how to deal with the short-term. The war has ended. Till to this day, I don't know of any Liberian government that have painted a robust picture and costed it out of what the next 25 to 30 years are supposed to look like. We've heard of Vision 2030 in the past and all of that stuff, but they were just aspirational things. They didn't really lay out a costed pathway to say, here is where it needed to go. And this is where mine come in internationally. Money is not an issue. This current iteration of human society has so much money. There's never been a time where there was more money than that is available right now. We're living in an age where someone can open your laptop and hit the enter button and send $500 million to your account with the hit of a button. They don't have to bring briefcases on helicopters and jet planes to deliver it to you. That's how crazy our society is. So money has never been an issue. Money follows innovation. That's exactly how it is. And the people who control a lot of that wealth are not trying to do small. They're not interested in your emergencies, small, because for them, money is not the issue. The issue is the types of innovation that would do transformative things. They want to be involved with things because money is not their issue. They can raise the money. They're not worried about that part. So when you come to them, you want to help 2,000 children here, 300 children here, whatever that, out of respect and courtesy, they might write you a check for $10,000. They write you a check for $20,000 just out of courtesy and respect. But for them, no, that's not what, because they know you'll be back next year again for another 2,000 children again. And the next year you'll be back again for another 2,000 children. And people will forget the first 2,000 you did 5 years ago as you go along. So they're looking for people who can give them a direction that can make them do something so transformational that for the next generation, people will continue to talk about it. And this is where we've lost the plot in Liberia. Even at our governmental levels, we're still talking small. Like, we're not talking big. People go to have conversations. They are more worried about how we'll pour water in Soniwe. That's too small. We should be worried about how we will build a water management system that will supply clean drinking water, that will take dirty water and purify it, that will collect rainwater, since we have it in abundance, and distribute it across the country. Now, how we'll get clean water for Soniwe. We're still having conversation about how we'll get one more power plant to add to increase LEC capacity to supply 10 more communities. It's a waste of time.
And then you got more Ali chicken, everybody all around up on the board asking, well, how you using the tax money?
Yeah. So
Well,
you are having small conversations. When you talk to people who control money and wealth, they like for you to finish, they like you to excite them. Tell them something here before. Don't come to tell them the thing where everybody can send it every day by email. They want to do this small project. Those people get hundreds of requests every day with those small projects. If you can tell them something that stands out of those. So internationally, this is where the power to mobilize resources lies. Every bad soul requires bad medicine. If you say you want to transform a country, you can't be talking about doing it one community at a time. It does not work that way. You have to be talking about building something that is so rooted, fundamentally grounded and transformational that people will start to worry about how do we replicate this, not just in one country, but actually multiple countries. I joke about UL all the time, University of Liberia. And I keep laughing. I'm like, how are we doing the greatest deception in this generation by telling children who go into UL that they are learning? And then we graduate them every now and then and put them out there under the illusion that they've actually learned something. UL is in no position to deliver any form of quality education at any standard. And this is not a criticism of the students, neither of the professors. It's the fact. You cannot deliver any type of quality education in a place like that. A place where it rains, some classes might be canceled because the water will run in the classroom. A campus where students have to be pulling in plastic bags and throwing it down Jalatan. You can't, it's not possible. A place where books in the library are from the 1940s, 50s, 60s, and 70s. They are no longer useful in any educational setting. So I asked somebody the last time, what will happen if we leverage UL, come up with a vision that said we will build the first energy net zero university campus on the African continent? What stops us from mobilizing that kind of effort and saying UL is one of the oldest degree granting institutions on the African continent? Let's lift it up to the standards that it's supposed to be at. Rich people, money follows innovation. I asked somebody last time, what is the case for support for Liberia? We don't have a case of support. We're just chasing money down every time. There's a little $100 million grant here. We chase it. Whatever the people say, we skewed our development agenda to it. So our development agenda are just loose and vague. Everything fit. Anything they throw at us, it fits. Rather than us building a solid, innovative, transformational case for support, that when somebody comes to us and say, we got $100 million, we say, okay, let's explain to you how that $100 million makes sense in Liberia for our 50-year journey that we are on. If you want to be part of this journey, here's how we can make you be part of it. Instead, we are being controlled by everybody who brings small money. So what's happening? We play Russian roulette back and forth. Somebody come today, they say they want climate change. We follow climate change. Then tomorrow, somebody come and say they don't want climate change, they want mining. So we erase climate change, we go back to mining. Somebody come the next day, they say, no, that's school they won't build. All of a sudden, our agenda become building school. So at Empowerment Square, one of the work we've done has been, how do you mobilize? How does somebody hand you a $1 million check? They're not going to hand you that by giving hungry kids. So what we did with the Learning Center, let me just close on this. The first thing we said, electricity is a problem in Liberia. We all know that. We don't know when they will fix it, but we know for the foreseeable future it's a problem. So we decided that we wanted to design a building that will live by itself off grid. It would need absolutely no grid to survive in a way. So we wanted to innovate with power, but also make sure you harness it and have it set very cheaply. We wanted to build one of the most environmentally friendly buildings ever built in Liberia. We wanted to work with earth compressed bricks, not Firestone bricks. Let me be very careful. Firestone bricks are something completely different. We use the same clay, but the technology is actually different. We wanted to design a building that would use rainwater collection systems. Monrovia is one of the wettest capital in the world. How is water stay a problem in 2026? When the whole Monrovia is swamp, half of the country that's swamp. How do you have problem with harvesting water? So we designed the building in a way that our carbon footprint is in fact, I got a stat yesterday. The Canadian Library System, because they've been supporting us, had their conference, and they evaluated the Liberian Learning Center against, in terms of environmental friendliness and sustainability. There is no library in Canada that is as environmentally friendly and sustainable like the Liberian Learning Center in the entire country of Canada. So we actually rank #1 compared to any library system in the whole Canada right now. That kind of stuff excites people with resources. So when you come to international partners, they're not trying to do small. So we will have to elevate our case for support to be at the system level to attract the kind of investment and resources that are required.
Mr. Johnson, I know you're a very detailed guy, but I want you to be able to be, to truncate the explanation a little bit.
I will try and keep it shorter.
I have a full bit.
I will try and keep it shorter.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Veteran, your last question.
Yeah. You dream and you conquer the Liberia Learning Center. Now you're going out, I don't know whether it's all of the box. You already going to another project, helping us to understand how 9/11 is 911 is so important, the emergency system. Why are you picking that fight?
They say when you go in the home of the bat, you got to hang like the bat. You got to understand how people operate and operate the way they operate. Liberia, we're a nation that has become a very cheeky country, a very cheeky society. We like to respond to cheeks. If you try to do anything educational and make it so formally educational with your PowerPoint and whatever, people disengage. If you find a way to make it cheeky, tongue in cheek, all of a sudden, everybody get worked out. So I just decided to do a little experiment. I was driving home that night. Hey, Maria, in Sinka. So I said, I will dial 911. Let's see what emergency services are in the country. I dialed 911 from my phone. And I recorded it because I wanted for people to see live what was happening. I dialed 911, he responded. It said to me, the number you have reached, Orange informs you that the number you have reached is out of switch off or out of coverage area. We did it multiple times. That always say, Orange didn't tell us that the number you are calling is out of service, because to do that, if the number is not registered, they will tell you, say, the number you have called is not registered. And, please check your number and dial again. So the point I was trying to make to people was this. Imagine living in a whole country. God forbid, something happens. What do you do? Now, so after I dialed the 911 number, like I said, before I knew, the next morning I woke up, my phone was going off the whole over 25,000 reshare. It was going crazy, but it was funny and serious at the same time. So it hit home. I got contacted, LMP contacted me. Before I knew it, I saw a poster up, the Ministry of Health released their own emergency number. Before I knew it, the Liberia National Police released their own emergency number. But they still missed the point. My video was not to be critical, right? It was not to criticize or so. My video was to show a point that this was something that was a crucial need that needed to be addressed and to draw the attention to it. Where I was disappointed, why not go to Orange Lone Star, compel this mobile service provider? I'm not saying use 911, whatever that short code will be, compel them, because you know why? They already created. When they're doing Orange Jamboree Bonasa, they can create a short code, that 123, that 232 for themselves, for their own businesses. Why can we not tell this mobile service provider that compel them to create a short code emergency that will be on all mobile service lines? You don't need no data, because the number that the police released, the regular Orange number, you get data in your phone, it can go. To create a short code, but beyond that, let's say the Liberian government don't have the emergency services, right? Put up a call for companies that are providing emergency services in Liberia, private ambulance services, private hospital services. Enlist those numbers in your emergency room. That when somebody called 3 o'clock in the morning and they need an ambulance and the government, JFK doesn't have it, you will then route their call to that company so that that company can address the emergency right away, since the government does not have the ability yet to have it on its own. And then make those companies pay a minimum small fee, right, to keep the system active, because what you're doing, you're driving business towards them. That was the point of a 911 call. I put it out there for us, not to criticize anyone.
They put tell you about a minute shamer, man. Well, anyways, Mr. Nip, I'm going to make you last, but go to the line. So let's go to Mr. Nubo. Mr. Nubo.
Yes. Again, it's good to hear you. I want to know when you have the time to reach the counties that were unreachable, because
can you all hear Mr. Nubo?
You hear me?
All right, sorry, I'm going. Can you all hear Mr. Nubo?
Yeah, we can hear Mr. Nubo. We can hear you.
I can hear you actually, but I wasn't hearing Mr. Nubo. Mr. Nubo, can you please repeat what you said? I couldn't hear you.
Okay, are you hearing me now?
I'm not hearing him. I don't know why I can hear you. Actually.
I can go out and come back.
Or just relay it to me.
Let me go out and come back.
Okay, Mr. Nubo. Good.
Oh,
so let's go to you, Mr. Nepe, while Mr. Nubo is coming back in.
I am overwhelmed. I am pleased that a young man looking at our system from afar knew there was a acute need for what he has developed. I was in Liberia. I think I passed by the Finsbury facilities that we are talking about now, and I'm not too sure whether it is fully completed. And if it is fully completed, I want to say hats off to you, Nopol. And I don't want to anglicize your name. I'll call you Nopol.
Oh, yes, thank you.
Because Nopol is the name that you were given when you came to Liberia by birth. My question is, knowing that our people are poor, you have the poorer in Africa than any other country, you have fewer that are rich. My understanding is that you have the genius mind that you have brought about a new day in Liberia. Is there any thought about our children going to your learning center with a minimum or no fees?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Napier. I think this is a very important question. And I'll answer this in two ways. First of all, I'm a big proponent of shifting our society from the relief mentality to a place of self-sustainability. But to say that also, we must study, that's why we did 6 years of research to understand what is the point of affordability. I'm a believer that no matter how poor you are, none of us are ever in a state of being left with absolutely nothing. And when I say nothing, I'm not just talking about financial resources, right? Because there are different kinds of gifts and abilities that we have. So we started the point of affordability, and here's the current structure we have at a learning center. For children under the age of 13 years old, it's 100% free. A parent or an adult just have to show up with them there and get them registered. They can access the facility anytime, all the time. It's free. Between the ages of 13 and 18, it's $12 US for the whole year. If you break it down, that's $1 per month. They get unlimited access to internet. We even got laptops. You don't need to have a computer when you show up there. They get unlimited access to the space, all the educational materials for $12 for the whole year. So if you're buying dollar scratch card, you just save it for Twitter. You can pay for your young student learning center fee for the whole year. Then you don't need to buy dollar data because they will have unlimited data to the learning center when they actually come there. Over the age of 18, so adults, young adults and adults, it's $20 US for the whole year. When you break it down at $1.60 per month for the whole year. And for us, that we are trying to cultivate an attitude. It's not even about the money. It's about cultivating an attitude of how do we tend to be intentional, planning ahead and investing in what matters. So now you know that $20, you know 2027, you just need to save your late $20. You pay you $20 the whole 2027, you get access. It's intentionality. Sometimes in Liberia, it's not about affordability. It's about the lack of access and the lack of intentionality as to where we should be putting our resources to reap the type of dividends that we are hoping for the long term. So that is how the Learning Center functions right now.
Oh, fantastic, fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Because my worry has been along the lines of those people who somewhere in things where is the governing intention on their minds. But then the people, they call it some kind of expert school on the Dupo Road. And I thought your system was crafted in a way that the poor people will not be able to afford. But here I found out that you know exactly where you come from, Bon County. You know the excruciating circumstances that you were faced with. And you understand when you went to Canada what to look for and how to transform people who are much younger than you and those who will be willing to enter your system. I must commend you for that. My second question has to do with a project of outlook. overlooked in the sense that you will mushroom this idea to other localities, such that our people not be only going to school and learning the 1 + 1 is equal to 2 and what have you.
Yeah, thank you again, Mr. Napier, for that question. So yes, and the way system level innovation works is that you do the prototype first to prove that the thing actually works. And the second question is to prove that it's actually sustainable, right? Because sometimes things can work, but making it sustainable. So right now, as I speak to you, we are on track that in 2 to 3 years, the Learning Center will be able to self-sustain itself with no external financial support from anywhere. We're already on track in terms of revenue generation, just from practical things, from membership fees, room renters, because what you're doing is collective, right? $20 for one person looks small, but when FATA asking people give us $20, that's 100,000 United States dollars right there. Right?
Absolutely.
Immediately. So the funding model is democratized in a way where you're not relying on 1 or 2 rich people who get plenty of money to give. But to your point, what I've done, we've brought in the Canadian public library system to help us look at how you curate this as the foundation for the first time in the history of our country to establish the first Liberian National Public Library system as a structure. Because what we're trying to avoid is to end up building these isolated, institutions where you go Grand Judea, you build one there, but I want in Grand Judea also, it's standing there by itself. You go Lofa, you build one there, standing by itself. Instead, through the power of legislation, because I'll tell you why. It would take $30 million to replicate this across the 15 counties in Liberia. Small money. But as we talk to partners, what people are looking at is saying, again, this is long-term transformational work for them. The money is not the issue. They want to ensure that they have the long-term political coverage, that people will not invest $30 million into something and 5 years later, one government can neglect, and, they want standing in Grand Judea and they become somebody playground, play hall. So what we're looking at, I've made a concept note already, communicating it to the right authorities. Hopefully they actually listen. That we are willing to help lead the effort to raise the $30 million if they can, through legislative powers, establish the Liberian National Public Library System as an autonomous agency. Because what we are saying, we are designing the facility to be self-sufficient, that it raises all the money it needs to run. So it does not have to rely on government budgeting. So in that way, it can have a very entrepreneurial approach. It will still be subject to all of the things, government audits, oversight. It's still subject to all of that, but it controls its own board. It has a board that controls its direct finances and funding so that it becomes more effective than getting caught up in a quagmire, and that we see every year from year to year with shortage of government funding.
Right.
So we have put it out there. I've written a concept note, and I'm willing to share it with everybody, that if we can get the legislative authority and backing behind it, we will be more than happy to put ourselves forth to help mobilize the $30 million that is required as a first state to launch the first public library system of the Republic of Liberia, since 1847, across the 15 counties, and then you can start to look at how you even spread it further.
Which is $2 million a piece.
Mr. Nippy, I'll hold you right there.
Yeah.
Now, let's go to Mr. Nubo for 2 questions, and we'll go to the lines, please. Veteran Speaker, you'd run the table while I come back after Mr. Nubo. We're going to go to the lines, please. I'll be right back.
Okay, thank you. I hope Mr. Johnson is hearing me now.
Very loud and clear.
Okay, thank you. Yes, my first question I was trying to ask before you inform me that you were not hearing me, is that because of road conditions, you did not reach certain countries or counties in the southeast. Now that the roads are in better condition, when will you plan to reach the counties that you did not reach?
Thank you, Mr. Nubo. So what we've done, because even though we didn't reach those counties, but we reached counties that were closer to them in the southeastern region.
Right.
So we use a method called extrapolation. because there are common features. For example, the coastal counties, right?
Yes.
We have like very common features when you actually look at them itself. So what we did, we use the method of extrapolation. So let's say if we wanted to go build a learning center in Maryland, in Harper right now or so, we do have the data using the method of extrapolation that we got from surrounding counties to be able to start a project in Harper right now. So technically speaking, that's not a barrier to us starting anything in those counties. But yes, that's an important question I would still consider for my future of engagement, to look at the possibility of the two counties where River G and Maryland County were the two counties that we didn't hit. So at some point, I think it might be worth still, facilitating an engagement process in those counties as well.
Okay. Before I get to my question number one, I will say thanks for considering a national library system for the whole country. That is a good idea, and maybe if you can inform some of us, we can share it with our lawmakers and see and see what it can do, because in those counties, no libraries.
Yeah, I'm going to let you know something radical I'm planning to do, and say maybe all of you can support. I'm actually planning to start a national petition to petition our government on the white people of national public to mobilize the Liberian population.
Yeah, we can help with that. Okay. How many hours per day the student have access to your center or to the square?
From 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday to Saturday. The only day right now we're closed is on Sundays, Monday to Saturday. But there are other programs that run till 9, sometimes to 10 p.m. So, for example, we have a program called BBC, the Born Before Computer Program. So for our older people who were born when there were no computers around, so they didn't get the benefit to grow up with a computer generation, we have a special computer literacy program for them. That program sometimes runs, I think, till 9 p.m. at night. And then there are other literacy programs that we run. We now have a sewing program, a fashion design program that runs still. That's why it's a learning center. I was trying to distinguish the difference between a learning center and an actual library. So, but the actual regular hours is 9 to 5. And then special programs, some run till late.
Okay. So a student can go to school downtown Monrovia and then come back and have time to go there. And,
absolutely.
And would there be somebody to tutor the student?
Yeah, so we have multiple things running. So for example, if a student came out to do an assignment and was working on asked for a computer and didn't know what to do and needed help, we got staff in the space that usually will help them. Or if we notice they're just really bad off, they don't know where to even start, then we encourage them to get enrolled in one of the programs that could benefit them. So you could come and just do your work independently, but you also have an opportunity to get enrolled in an actual, either the computer literacy program, for example, or a mentoring or tutoring program, for example. You can get enrolled in those ones directly, or you can come to just do your work if you are stuck and somebody can help you.
And did I hear you say you have rooms there for businesses?
That's correct. We do have incubation spaces for startup businesses. So what we're trying to avoid, not to get businesses that are already established and look for a way to can't get it cheap. We're looking for startup businesses that are on their way up for about 2 years.
Okay. And that is $100 a month.
It depends on what room. It can range from that to what, depending on the size of the room. So there are some bigger rooms where you just have a desk, or if you want an entire room to yourself on the availability. The staff will work with you directly to come up with a cost.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, it's time that we go to our callers. And so, Chris, you can open the line and then direct the callers to ask questions.
Thanks so much. Let me say thank to all of the panelists and our honorable guests, Mr. Johnson. Folks, if you
Chris,
are there,
Chris, you are muted. I don't know if you're meant to be muted.
Are you getting me? Are you guys, Mr. Smith, are you guys getting me?
Yeah, we're hearing you.
Okay.
I'm hearing you, but it looks like Mr. Johnson.
Mr. Johnson is not getting me.
Yeah, yeah. I think he will come back. I think he will come back.
Okay.
Okay, let mute everybody.
Yeah. So we have Mr. Johnson tonight. Today is the 14th day of May, the Unification Day. So we like to say welcome. We have our guest discussing wiring of issue when it comes to the growth and development of Liberia, the mindset changes of Liberia. So if you want to be part of the show tonight, our regular listeners, our followers out there, our fans, you can call it on 0881 1435 04 0881 1435 04 06.
You mute yourself.
Grace? We can't hear you, Grace.
New Turkey community. Good
Okay.
evening to our panelists. Good evening to Leo. Leo, thank you. You make my day. Thank you for the
Are you
hard
getting me?
work. You getting me?
Yeah, go ahead. Please, let me. Mr. Smith, are you getting the colors?
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
Okay. Good. Go ahead, Lenny. Go ahead.
Okay, my name is Mary. Thank you to the panelists. Thank you to Leo. Leo, thank you for the hard work. And thank you for the library, all the work you've been doing. But I'm appealing to you. If you'll be leaving to go in a county, I pray your first country must be Grand Jide County. Grand Jide will need library for our children. All our good things talking my higher is burning. And I want to ask Leo about the fashion design and talk about if a student can come from school, then he can go to the library there for the same program. If it can be so, then he can let me know because I'm following the show online.
Okay. Thank you so much, Nelly. Thank you for being part of the program.
You're welcome.
Call her 0881 1435 04 0776 or 105 105. You're listening to all the sweet thing and the good thing that are happening to the other county, and the CEO for the Liberia Learning Center we have in here tonight. Maybe you can ask your questions.
Chris,
Yes.
can you put our studio in the other studio?
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so you can call on 0881 1435 04 0776 105 105 0881 1435 04 0776 105 105. You can ask your question. If you have any recommendation, just like what our sister did, and let's go to the phone line and talk to this caller. Good evening. What is your name and where you calling up from?
I'm Chin Wilson. I'm calling from.
You need to put more strain in your voice. Yeah.
I'm calling from Treasury to East side.
Okay, go ahead. Let's hear you.
Yeah, I want to tell you tonight.
You
will be there by 9. When I will be there, the way that he sort of make it work, the people that will be recruited, there will be a lot of people.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you're saying something very important, but your voice is very low and your line is breaking. Can you call back, please?
Not Lalo.
Okay, Alice. Okay.
Okay, so what I'm trying to say is that I was very appreciative of him for what he has decided to do, or he has done for Nigeria. And I have certain suggestions to put through.
Go ahead.
The suggestion is since the staff will be by 9, some will be 12, right? So I'm asking if there will be a possibility that if what is that still I'll do a round tour on PV, 32, So my dad job went by passing through Morocco and coming back to this day, so that most of you who are to be not alone, so that we have access to the homes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Since the time is
Chris, people are saying, don't forget the international line and comments.
okay.
Shoot the question.
Okay. If it can. Caller, okay, let's go to the phone line to take the caller. Good evening.
Top FM, Grand Jida County, good evening. Good evening to one of our professors, and a special one to those young and brilliant professors. We learned by hearing about him through Imam Miata. Thank God that today, though we are not seeing him, but from hearing your voice, it makes some of us be more encouraged to keep hearing such a person like this. More happy to be a Liberian. Now, my question, I'm sorry, my name is retired Captain Emmanuel S. Ndo, otherwise known as Berikatu, United Force, but you compare to do the right thing. I'm from Grand Jida County. Thank you. My question is, are you anticipating of partnering with some of our universities or colleges around our country, Liberia? Because we observe that nowadays, Monrovia is not only Liberia, a higher learning institution. It is not only in Monrovia, but decentralized. Are you anticipating of partnering with some of our higher institutional learning area around the country, so that can enable some of us who are opportune to enroll to some of the institutions can feel the impact and also be able to steal some of your knowledge that is so memorable in you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much, Brother Cartoon, for being part of the platform. 0881 14 35 04 0776 105 105. If you are out there, you want to be part of the platform, you can call on plus 231 881 43 143 504 plus 231 776 105 105 0881 14 35 04 0776 105 105. This is your program, Alberto D4, and tonight we have with us the CEO of the Liberia Learning Center. Yes, some of the beautiful thing, I know our people back here, they're like, wow, I wish to be in Monrovia. About the question other people are asking, a recommendation is for him to make sure if you want to do it anywhere again, let you start from Grand Jida. Call on 0881 14 35 04 0776 105 105. Let's try to play our theme song as we await our color. Yes, let's play our theme song.
I beg to differ, Liberia. My people like a typo. Top FM 105.3, we on the air. Leader, shout, Sheku Koroma. Archie Wright. Playing Alex Diulu. Rock producer correct. All tonight we beg to this day. I beg to differ, my people. If it's not correct, we go talk them so.
Alberto D4, you don't have to agree with us, but we can discuss and find solution to what we are discussing. You can say your own. This is what the late Nawish Law says. Say your own. Don't say I disappointed in Chris. Why you have to be disappointed in me? Call on 0881 14 35 04 0776 105 105 0881 14 35 04 0776 105 105. And you're going to be live tonight on Abed to D4. Let me say happy Unification Day to those of you following Top 105.3 on, when it comes to the social platform, and those of you listening by radio, we like to say happy Unification Day. So like, yeah, we have one of our young and brainiacs, if you listen to him, you want to be like him. So call on 088-114-3504-0776 105 088-114-3504-0776 105 and you're gonna be live. So let's see. I don't know, Mr. Wright, are you there? While we are with the caller, then we'll go.
Chris, when you are reading,
yes.
When you are reading, because could you say which number?
Okay.
And
okay, I just
and when you are looking at some comments,
Chris, call the international number.
It's the same number. It's the same number. Plus, it's the same number plus 231 881 143 504. The only thing you put the Liberia code there that, and it's on the board here. Can call the same number. Yes. Plus 231 881 143 504. Plus 231 776 105 105. That is the same number. Yes. So Mr. Veteran Smith. Okay, let's go over to the phone line. Good evening.
Yeah. So we'll say again.
Yeah,
so
Wilson.
What I'm proposal is that I want for my daughter to, and after school, to go to that deliver program. So if there will be bus available, then I can pay for that bus. I will drop my daughter to the bus, near bus stop to prepare me after the computer class. That's what I'm asking.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. You got you clear now. Call on 088-114-3504-0776 105 105 088-114-3504-0776 105 105. And we will hear you tonight. Sometimes it's good when something very important and interesting come to our radio, to we the Grandidians. The way we participate, it will build the interest of the one who doing it. Like we're talking about education, and that type of education is quite different. It comes to building minds, changing the attitude, and not just to learn, but the passion in which you're going to learn. This is what we are discussing. So let's talk to this caller. Hello.
Yeah. Good evening, brother.
Good evening. Is it Mr. Siwe?
Yes, sir. This is Aziz Siwe, and I call you from Braville community.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I just came across you. Perhaps I may not know the in-depth of this platform, but as regards to the celebration today, Unification Day, I just want to comment on a few experiences that I have today. On the radio, particularly on Talk Radio, there I learned today about the day, Unification Day. And I think I got something from the veteran, one of the veteran on
Yeah,
the
Veteran
platform.
Smith.
Okay, Veteran Smith,
Mhm.
who was telling us about the colonization of Maryland in Liberia and Maryland colonizing Maryland from America. You know, I learned a lot. Only I have a doubt. I was trying to fall in, but I couldn't be permitted due to the line was busy. But I think on the platform of Adefo,
Mhm.
I want to understand that the colonization of by Maryland in America, what the county, presently now we can say county, Maryland County, was it, was that colonized to be a, territory or a country? That's why I didn't understand on him.
Okay.
Yeah, this morning.
Okay. We will get to
So,
that later. We have a guest now.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll get to that later. Yeah. We have.
Okay,
we have
thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Now
Thank you very much for accepting me.
Okay. Now we are dealing with education matter. we have the CEO for Liberia Learning Center right with us here in Zweju. Hey, somebody say, "Wow, the man is on it." But for the voice is in Zweju. So I'd like to say welcome, Virgil Smith. Can we go over to you? What Mamiata is saying is true because we need to work on a special line, well, a WhatsApp number for those who the diaspora is very important. So I'm going to link it with the CEO and we do that. So it's very important. So we go
Okay,
over
thank
to
you. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
You can mute your microphone. So let me go to Leo. Leo Johnson, you have heard some of the questions from the callers. You would like to respond at this time?
Absolutely. Yes, I'll have the opportunity to respond to some of them. I'm just opening my notes here quickly so I can make sure I don't miss any of them. Super. So I'll take the first caller who talked about going to Granjida. I hear you, and we're working hard. Hopefully, we get the kind of response we're hoping for from our stakeholders so that we have the ability to look at engaging with other counties and so. Because like I said, this is not a one-off thing. These things are supposed to be everywhere. The children in Zwedru should be having the same educational experience as the children in Pinsville. The children in Vonjama should be the children in Greenville, the children in Plebo. There should be no reason why we're giving the children in Monrovia and Pinsville a different type of experience for education. And then when we go to Zwedru or Plebo or Hopper or Greenville, Sino, we cannot repeat that same quality experience. Our children can go to school in Zwedru, Maryland, Vonjama, Banga, and look like they were going to school on a different planet that are not the same Liberia because they didn't have access to the same opportunities. So I hear you, and I'm with you in that as well. We will keep making the case to see if we can mobilize the type of attention and institutional support that is needed to do that there. The second piece I should talk about was about the fashion design school. I don't know if the cohort, because it's way by cohort, so I don't know right now if it's too late for this cohort. Your best bet would be to go to the Learning Center. If you go on Facebook, just Google the Liberian Learning Center, it will come out, or even on the website, if you go online, Google it. Call if you can go, but if you can go in person, go there and talk to them because they'll be able to give you more information. I'm not involved with the operations. I try because we're building leadership, so I don't get involved with the day-to-day operation. So go and speak to the team directly and they'll be able to help you. We also had a question about partnering with higher institutions in other parts of Liberia. Absolutely. The thing about partnership is those of us who live in these counties where these institutions are, we need to put the pressure on them. My question would be, how come I haven't gotten an invitation, from any of these institutions, or even say, Leo, let's talk to you, let's explore. And, what can we do together to partner with you to do another one or to do something in our county, right? We got the universities, and that is the full-time job of these institutions. They are supposed to be exploring out there for meaningful partnerships that can help bring more quality to their institutions. So I hear you, but I will ask you also to put the pressure on your institution to say, hey, I know of this group, I know of this person that's doing, excellent work that might be good. Can our institution here, or college or university here, reach out and at least explore, and see if there are possibilities for us to actually do some stuff. So let's put the pressure also on our leaders in these different institutions. But we are always open to having a conversation and exploring what is possible. There was also a question about the fellow asking about the bus. We don't have a busing system yet. That's a good point that you've made. I've taken it down. I've written notes to talk to my team around exploring what that could look like. Let's say we have a library busing system, that can pick up kids around to drop them safely and be able to drop them off after. So that's definitely they say one step at a time. So that's probably the next thing that we would be considering. I want to go also to the comments. There was a number of questions I saw you just posted one here. Some of it came from Ente Miata. She said, Ente Miata said, is the Liberian government in or with the learning center since the name says Liberia? No. Right now, there is no direct involvement or participation with the Liberian government for the Learning Center in Timiata. We named it a Liberian Learning Center because, as you know, we wanted it to reflect, that this is not a strange thing. And for me, I'm very intentional on naming things that it should look like it is our own. Let's name it after ourselves. So that's why we named it a Liberian Learning Center, but there's not a direct involvement from the Liberian government right now. We will keep engaging and see. We can actually see. Intermediate says she's not able to call, but she asked, is there a fee cost of membership to the Learning Center? I think I answered that in one of my comments already. Yes, there is a fee structure. She also said, please read my question to the guests. I read that, I got that already. Somebody asked, where does Mr. Johnson hope to have the Learning Center in the next 5 to 10 years? My hope is that there is a national public library system inspired by the Learning Center, that in the next 5 to 10 years, we can start to say we have a system in the 15 counties that the same thing you can access right in things via the Learning Center. You can access it in Banga, in Vonjama, in Granjida. That is my hope and prayer. Somebody said, I think that's it so far, the questions that I see on here. Oh, somebody, Enter Miata, asked a question. You just had a march commemorating victims of the war, which I was coming to attend when I had a stroke. Can you touch on why? The why for that is very short. In my opinion, since the war ended, we have put all our energy on the perpetrators. Everybody wants war crimes code, which is not a bad thing. But we have neglected the victims consistently. Liberia is one of the few countries in the world that has such a brutal war, but does not have a national memorial commemorating victims of the war since the war ended. There has been individuals who've done different things to do that. So we started a movement this year. Every first Saturday in April, we'll be organizing a national memorial walk in honor of war victims, especially children whose innocence was stolen by being turned into child soldiers, or people like myself, whose childhood was stolen away and we didn't have the chance. So this on April 1st Saturday, we had the first ever memorial walk. It was well attended. We will be doing a video screening of the memorial walk and what happened in the next few weeks that will be coming up. The next one will be next April, next year, and the first Saturday. We're already planning that now. Public information will be going out so we can continue to grow it. Our goal is to turn it into a national memorial every year so that our young children who did not experience the war can start to understand how bad and dangerous that is, so they don't start to play those same funny games that led us to the war in the first place. But I turn it back over to you, Veteran Smith.
Thank you very much, and what an interesting quarter. What is so surprising today is Unification Day, all the young people home. I was expecting some young people to call. So my question to you, you have a radio station connected to your, what is the purpose of that radio station? Can that radio station also be used where we flow in? I can volunteer to help, where we flow educational topic, where we can talk, because today's young people, they're more focused on political talks that center to their life than things that will better their lives. So how can we use that radio station in the Liberian Learning Center to cater to the needs of young people?
Yeah. So, in fact, the idea behind a radio station is that it will be only educational content, nothing else. All educational content, from talks, educational talks to literacy, local literacy language programs, CRAN, CRUD, Pele, GIO, those type of programs in our local languages, to academic educational programs, to quizzing competitions, to entrepreneur and business education program. The goal is that there will be nothing political. It will be all educational topics, about history, bringing on elders and people in our community who understand the history of our country, some of who were participants and witness to some of it, dispelling this lie in Liberia that everybody got their version of what happened in Liberia. And the people who are there can take the stage to set the record straight as to exactly what they know. So we're running around with this convoluted history of Liberia, where people tell us, say, Liberia was founded on Christian principle. For all to come find out, that's not true. They were on their way to Centennial Pavilion, and heavy rainstorm came down, so they ran to Providence Baptist Church and signed it in there. Then they turned it into another. I call it debunking the myth and educating, because some of the people who are witness to these things are still around. Some of them who may not be witnesses to it, but it was passed down to them by their great-grandparents and are still around. Let's not lose it. So yes, veteran, we will be opening it up. The radio station is just about being designed right now. We haven't even brought in the equipment yet. Once we're at that stage, we'll be opening it up to people, but only restricted to educational-related topics and programming.
My question before we send it over to the panelists, for the gentleman who want to ask about the state of Maryland colonizing the territory of Maryland. At that time, it was not a county. It was just a territory. Our brothers and sisters who came from America for better life, they were in Caldwell and other places, so there was disunity. And so they wanted another place. So the state of Maryland, they could have gone through Congress to colonize, but they felt it was going to be difficult. So the state of Maryland sponsored the territory in Liberia called Maryland Territory at that time. And they ran it until a certain time, but then the indigenous people felt dissatisfied with them. And for that reason, they fought our brothers and sisters that came from the state of Maryland. Our brother asked the Liberian army to come on their side to help crush the uprising in the territory of Maryland. And so after they crushed our people down, then they asked the government to take over that Maryland territory under the state of Maryland, became part of Liberia in 1857. So that's the nutshell of the story. If you need more, call tomorrow. We should teach in there at Top FM 105. We'll go more into it on that subject matter. So let me ask my follow a question, then we move on to other callers, to panelists to ask questions. What you think the blueprint that you have set up, and then part 2 of that $1 million for part 2, where are we now and where we need to be, and that we all can rally around you for the completion of part 2?
Oh, the good news is, as we prepare for phase 2, and phase 2 is going to be a masterclass also, we are looking at doing a building that will have a convention center style building. It's going to have an NBA sized basketball gym and 2 small practice courts in there. It's also going to be a space that doubles as a big event center, one of the things we don't have right now in Liberia. So it will be able to take up to 900 people for very big conferences. These big conferences we hold that are hosted in other countries in the West here, we'll be able to host up to 900 people in that space. It's also going to have a performance theater. That's one thing we don't have in Liberia right now. It's a music concert theaters, movie concert theaters, like that kind of performance theater will be in there. And then we'll have additional co-working rooms, business incubation rooms in addition to that. So that's phase 2. The good news is groundbreaking will be December 18 and 19. December 18 will be the official groundbreaking ceremony in Liberia. And then the 19th will be a fundraising gala night on the Saturday. Friday will be the groundbreaking. But what you can do right now, our estimated budget for phase 2 is $1.5 million. We've raised $1 million already, like you saw in the announcement. So we're short another 500,000. So between now and December, we'll be actively fundraising. You will be shocked. Every dollar helps. The last fundraising event that fundraising for phase 1 that we did, there was a massive outpour of small donations. In fact, to educate people, a friend of mine wanted to do 5,000, but he thought it was too much. He couldn't come with it at once. So what he did, he called us. My team was able to work with him to set up what we call recurring donations. So he set it off at $300 a month. And he didn't believe within 12 months or so, he had given $5,000 without realizing, because it was automatic. And once he got his receipts, if you're living in the US or Canada, you also get a tax receipt. So you are able to claim up to 65% of the amount that you donate at the end of the year when you go to do your taxes in Canada, in the United States, with the tax receipt. So you get 65% of that money coming back to you during your tax return time. Once you go, we have an agreement with the IRS in the US for tax deductible donations to the center. So reach out to me. Go online, empowermentsquare.org. You can actually set up your own donation automatically by yourself. You don't need to talk to anybody if you don't want to. Call me. You can also make a one-time, whatever ways that you think you can support, please reach out and we'll be happy to talk to you about the ways you can do that.
Let's go to Mr. Wright is with us? No. Okay. Mr. Nepe? Okay. Mr. Nemo?
I'm here.
Okay. Okay, go ahead with your question.
Paul, thank you so much. And let me go to the Q and say, Mr. Johnson, thank you so much. You are taking one step at a time. And this one step, you started in Monrovia. This one step could also begin in Monrovia. Our country has the oldest university centered right on Capitol Hill. Is there anything in your plan to upscale, improve, develop the library, the UL library? Because in your statement, you said every year the UL puts people out. Every year they're putting people out, and these are not standard university graduates. And I applaud that concern. Two, you said that the books in the library are long time books, and they're not using the kind of reading materials anymore. So the books have to be standardized and other things that will complement the learning process. Is there any thought on your mind for our young minds that are within that complex situation, how they can gain access to the new reading materials now that put themselves on top?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Napier. Very important question. In fact, I'm on the record for raising a petition a petition to the University of Liberia. I believe, yes, in the short term, definitely. In fact, we've been engaged with Dr. Mapayan already. I just had a meeting with her less than a month ago. I had a meeting with Dr. Mapayan to understand what were some of her vision objectives for the university, and to explore ways that we could potentially partner on those pieces in the short term. But I also posed a long-term question to her, right? Because the short-term intervention will not solve our long-term needs. It will help us in the short term deal with some of those challenges. The long-term need is we need a University of Liberia that reflects the future and no longer the past. The current University of Liberia, all their campuses are a reflection of the last 177 years or so. Nothing's wrong with that. It was a huge bedrock for getting our nation to where it got us. And, it did a lot of exploits for its time and purpose. That time and purpose has gone. is no longer capable of serving the next 100 years that's ahead of us that we should be preparing for. So I've proposed, I was in my conversation with Dr. Mampayan and publicly, that again, the University of Liberia is one of the few, it's the only university I know of in the world that does not have an advancement and a development department that is entirely focused on fundraising and revenue mobilization. We are the only university I know of that is entirely reliant on the government budget to be able to function, right? We all hope that budget gets bigger, but again, that's for the politicians to decide. But every university, I worked for one, McMaster, top 100 in Canada. My department alone was responsible for almost $22 million a year. Extra money raised for the university to operate. UL is one of the oldest degree granting institutions on the African continent. UL is a gold mine for fundraising when structured properly. It's a gold mine. The historicity of that university, the exploits that that school did from 1876 till the war, is amazing storytelling for money raising at the big level. We've never tapped into it ever. It's been sitting there. We've never curated it. We've never structured it. So yes, in the short term, we will partner, but I think that there's a bigger conversation needed in the long term. Why can we not start drafting a vision for the next 10 years to build Africa's first ever energy net zero university so we don't have to worry about LEC current going? We built an energy net zero campus that produces the exact amount of energy it needs. LEC should not disrupt the educational bedrock of the country. And number two, our university learning outcomes should be directly tied into our economic productivity. Whenever UL put out new graduates, we should feel an immediate boost to the country's economy because it is tied into the economic pipeline. We can be training students today that will only do well when they come to America. So it's amazing. When people go to UL today and they come to America, they will do well. But if they stay in Liberia, they might end up going to a regular market to sell in a wheelbarrow after earning a university graduate degree. That is the trajectory we are on. So I've argued that, for example, industry-based professors, we may not have a lot of PhDs in Liberia or to be able to afford them. But what the international world has done is certify what we call industry-based professors. So let's say we have somebody in Liberia who in the area of construction has spent the last 25 years and have earned a reputation for being able to do that. They get certified as an industry-based professor. So that means they don't need a PhD to be a doctor because their experience and achievement is equivalent to what would have been a PhD in practice. So they get certified to then teach at a university. Right here in Canada, many universities got a lot of industry-based professors that are not PhD, but they are experienced experts in the field based on experiential learning. So for me, Mr. Nipe, I agree with you in the short term. We are engaging UL to figure out how we can help support them, whether it's through the development of their library or allowing access to our space for students to be able to leverage. But I think that's a smaller piece of the pie. I think that's a bigger conversation that is urgently needed to happen.
And then you are thinking in line, if you were to do the library, you're thinking in line to not only make it academic, but you will want to annex in the academic setting something of a more technical, so that when you graduate, you don't only hold a pen in your hand. You have a degree in electricity. You gotta have a degree in mining engineering. But you can also have a degree in auto mechanics, like in Germany. And that's how the German people were able to industrialize their country. And just the other day, I was reading a piece of paper. It's a Swedish information about lining. What they are doing now, they are not doing it in terms of the 90s that you were in school. Just like what you're talking about, the professors. The 100 that you will be schooling, the 2,000 you'll be schooling. They believe that God, in his wisdom, gave us eyes, gave us ears, and gave us mouth and hands. With those four faculties, you can do anything. So they do the practical. So you can go to a university and you do your practical and you come up as the masterpiece block builder, for instance, and you can start doing block. Is there any thought when you speak with the president the next time to interspice or to angle those kind of studies with the University of Liberia?
In fact, I was more drastic. I'm on the record for calling for UL to be turned into a technical university or a technical college. You cannot build your education system based on wishful thinking. You have to build your education system based on your actual reality. Let me tell you right now, since I've been in the construction business for a while now, good luck trying to find a good tile layer, electrician, or steel bender in Liberia, right? Because we've stopped providing quality education for technical areas like that. In fact, on one radio station, there is by Uptown Garage, there's an advert on it that says, we have brought electricians from Ghana. If you want express electrician, we have brought them from Ghana. We've gone to the point where we are saying we got to go to Ghana to bring good electricians into the country. So to your point, Germany did that. After World War II, the status of Germany was worse than Liberia. Germany decided to introduce the technical colleges and technical universities, where young people went to 2 years, right? After 2 years, they were certified. What did Germany do with that system? That system made Germany one of the world powers today when it comes to industrialization. Today, Germany has one of the lowest youth unemployment rates in the world. 52% of young people who graduate from high school in Germany don't go to university. They go to something called technical colleges and technical universities. Engineering, nursing, electricity, construction, those auto mechanics. Those are the things that they are learning, and that's what drives the German economy. Where Liberia is right now, let's be fair. Our greatest need are good plumber, good tile layer, good nurses, good engineers. Those are the things that we need. We're not to the place to be producing scientists. We're not capable. So why are we offering all these courses and programs and trying to offer theoretical university degrees that will not make any sense in today's Liberia? Let's build the foundation from where we are. When we can run a great technical university and stabilize income at the middle class level, then we can start to go to the scientific level where we need scientists now to address our higher needs. But I agree with you, Mr. Nepe, and those are the types of conversation I am facilitating right now.
And that of course has a balance. Just a moment, sir. My thought is in process. You've talked more than 20 minutes. We're talking about Liberia, and when we come to the issue of Liberia, some of us are more practical, and we talk with intentionality. So let me ask Mr. Noble another question. When you have people that are technically inclined and not only book savvy, the transition into improving the economy of the country, because once you have these people that can deliver services, the expatriate companies will not just come into this country like me, ArcelorMittal, for instance, and employ people from India or the other one they call Western Cluster to employ people from Sierra Leone. You Liberianize the economy such that you have Liberians that are managing the resources, you have Liberians that are employed, and then you have Liberians that are increasing the economy of the country. And that's why I agree with you on that point. Now, my last question will be, speaking of mushrooming this kind of system across the 15 counties, when you talk about a budget or the amount of 30 million, what would be your thinking? And I'm not being subjunctive. When the Liberian government comes and say, all right, we see exactly what the picture you have in your mind for the next 20 years for Liberia. We want to bring 50% of the $30 million. What would be your reception to that offer?
I can tell you that immediately we will facilitate the resources. If I would tell them, we will match it with the other 50%. Because here's what you do in fundraising, in my experience. People like to be on a winning team, no matter the size of your victory, we say in the fundraising world. The Liberian government stepping up with 50%, in fact, would send a signal to the world that we are willing to take responsibility, and we are so serious that we are putting our own money in, that the management and sustainability of it will be owned by the Liberian people because we are putting our foot forward. And this is the case I've always made. So if the Liberian can put for government can put 50% for, I can promise you that there is no question that we will facilitate the resources to match that 50% to the 100% to make sure we replicate this across the 15 counties of Liberia. Now, think about how that will uplift the spirit of the nation. If President Joseph Boakai can stand on a podium and tell the people that we are making an announcement that in 6 months, we will begin simultaneous construction across the country. The capital city of every county in Liberia will be receiving a brand new learning center. Just imagine what that does to the spirit of the nation before I talk about the employment that it can actually spur across those counties. But that's my response to that.
Thank you so much. Let me turn it back to
Mr. Numa. Go with your 2 questions, Mr. Numa.
Just a minute.
All right, while Mr. Numa is getting ready, let me jump in.
Okay.
Oh, he's ready. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Johnson. I love the technical or vocational education. I said it right here over and over. And when Kwame Nkrumah was building Kumasi Tech or Kwame Nkrumah Institute of Technology, when he was building the downtown, the Topman was buying Tiger generators. And Kenneth Kamuda built down. I went there, I saw the down. It's you go there by yourself, you get lost. And in Egypt, they built similar dam. And what we have in Monrovia, that time Monrovia did not even have 20,000 people. That's what we still rely on. And the type of education that we started with and we continue with, that's why every semester you have trouble at the University of Liberia. Because if you had technical education then, or strong engineering, mechanical, civil, electrical, where a student would be solving one problem for 2 hours, that student would not be thinking about a protest. Even though I was involved in protests too now. At Tubman College of Technology, but we wanted equipment and qualified instructors. And they brought those things, and we went back, and we completed. And most of the people that did electrical from that school and electronics, they were at Telecom from the college in Harper. And now the way they treat in the college, they don't. Somebody was telling me, even the civil engineering department does not have no surveying equipment, and that's the basic equipment you have to have. So, I hope we will push Liberia to go towards technology or engineering. Yes, we will go. And the other thing you talked about is the industry builds professors. I mean, these people, they know the know-how. They know the know-how. And they come and teach. Even in-service programs. I work with the city of Philadelphia, and people, they have this in-service program of people from PENDAT. They come and train us. PENDAT pay them. And And so technology is important. And we need to help to push our people to concentrate on technology, invest in technology. I mean, if somebody doing engineering or in vocational education has a laptop, and somebody doing other political science does not have a laptop, it will encourage them to be doing engineering. That's a
Mr. Newell, is that a comment or you want to get to the question?
Yeah, that's a comment. That's a comment.
Okay, sir.
That's a comment. So, that's the comment I have. And my last, which will be my second question, the radio station, what will be the coverage? Will it cover the whole nation or just the most rural area? That's my question.
I missed the last moment there. You said the next. Sorry.
The radio station, what will be the coverage of it?
Yeah. Our intention is for it to be national across the country. I don't think there's any real value in, because I think you heard me talk about us doing local language programs as well.
Right.
Because that's one of the missing pieces in Liberia right now. We do all these things on the radio and assume that a few people in Liberia who can't even speak correct English, less than 20% of the population know how to speak proper English, nor understand it, nor read it, nor write it. So that's the reason why today our constitution itself is a mess. By the time you get on the radio in Liberia and say one thing, before you reach to a relay, you get people telling you the opposite of what they thought they heard, just because of the English problem. So right now we are only communicating to less than 20% of our population and leaving 80% in absolute at the mercy of propagandists and people who are twisting and turning information in different ways. So our goal is to have national coverage, because our programs will be only educational, and we want it to be intentional in the local languages as well, so that we are not only communicating to 20% of the population, we're covering 80% of the population.
Thank you.
Any follow-up, sir?
That's it.
Okay. Okay, I see Veteran Smith is away. Chris, was it you? I met Mr. Nippert speaking. So, Chris.
Okay, thanks so much. Let me say many thanks to our guests. Yeah, because in responding to all of our questions and very much important. So I'd like to say thank you. My first questions have to do with, our other people from government, they are listening, and other private centers listening, those who have money sometimes, maybe they want to invest. So somebody would like to ask the question, what kinds of support do you need from the Liberian government and even private centers?
All right. Yeah, thank you, Chris, for that question. So right now, as I speak to you, we are planning to groundbreak for phase 2. And the one thing we did is that this facility is on public land, and so nobody can say when you're supporting it that somebody private thing you're supporting. We're trying to raise $500,000 right now to finish the budget for phase 2. Any form of support. And sometimes when people say support from the government, they think they have to take the money out of their pocket physically and give it. No, sometimes that is not it. They just need to leverage what government has, the influence, right? So I will give you an example. Government can mobilize the private sector around supporting something like this if they themselves are not supporting it. A government can lend this institutional support as well in many different ways. And we're happy to explore those conversations. So we don't only need to talk about it in terms of direct, we want you to give us money. No, let's sit down. Government can sit down with us. We can discuss what are some of the practical ways. I'll give you an example. As I speak to you, we're organizing another shipment of equipment and materials that comes in the country. Government could partner with us along those lines, right? There are many different ways. And I want to acknowledge the Painesville City Corporation here. Under the previous leaderships of Sivette Gibson, Mayor Pam Belcher Taylor, Mayor Letitia Reese, but especially currently also Mayor Robert Bestment. Their level of cooperation and support has been phenomenal. I would say the Painesville City Corporation has been a key reason why this project has been successful. in terms of their support, their cooperation, and ways that they can work. So we hope other governments, whether it's municipal or national, can emulate the example of the Prince of City Corporation in finding ways to have worked with us to make this happen when there was no example, of something of this before that we've seen, and they were open to working with us in that way. But lastly, I would say in Liberia, we get a big man, big woman syndrome. There is this belief that you who doing work, that you don't want to be chasing down the BB people to be showing it to them. I think that's a very bad culture. I'll give you an example. I was in Canada. One day my phone rang, I pick it up. You know what I was told? I was told that the Prime Minister of Canada was visiting the local city, and I had been selected to be the one to have a one-on-one meet for 30 minutes because of the work that we were doing that had been noticed in the city. Not because anybody knew me or I lobbied anybody or I chased anybody. They pick. I had the opportunity to sit down with the Prime Minister of Canada one-on-one for 30 minutes to talk about our work and our journey of getting there. In Liberia, it's the opposite. You have to spend so much time chasing that. I can't do it because the scarce time we have to focus on the work. So all of you who are connected, who know the president, who know the ministers, the legislators, that's your full-time job. Those of you who work in your offices and got connection, when you see something amazing happening that you think garners their attention, and that needs their attention, you should bring it to them. And they should be able to reach out because their full-time job is being paid. They're being paid by taxpayers' dollars to find opportunities and ways to move the country forward. Now, for those of us who are out here using our meager resources that we raise to do the work, then we get to leave here again and spend 2-3 months. When I'm in Liberia for 3 weeks, I get to spend 1.5 weeks of the 3 weeks chasing down just to get one meeting. It doesn't work. So I think all of us need to start switching that around. For the Liberian government to help. Accessibility would be another way of ensuring we can get people accessible, reaching out to explore how we could partner together for pushing the agenda of progress in our country.
That is great. Thank you so much. My next question have to do with you are in the learning center as an educator. Now, so young people, especially for Liberian, most of the young people are always shaving blame on government. Yeah, on government. What responsibility do young people themselves have in when it comes to changing Liberia?
Yeah. Thank you, Chris. Another great question. Here's what I often say. When you're a citizen of a country, there are two things that comes out where my United Nations had to talk about civic engagement. There are two fundamental things you have. The first one are what we call rights, right? When you're a citizen, you're born in Liberia, you're a citizen in Liberia, you have the right to walk in a road. You have the right for nobody to deport you. You have the right, as a citizen, it's your right. You are actually entitled to it. Nobody can say inalienable rights. Nobody can take that away from you by virtue of the fact that you're a citizen. You have the right to fair trial. You have the right to all those things. But there's also one side that we all miss and that we're not teaching our young people. The other side is you then have, as a result of those rights, responsibilities because of the rights. And what we've missed teaching our young people is the side of the responsibility as a citizen of Liberia. You have a responsibility to utilize your gifts and abilities for the betterment of protecting those rights and progress that you are entitled to in the first place. You have the responsibility to be a productive member of your society as a citizen and not a liability on the state. Let me say what I mean by that. Liberia is not short of opportunities. I fundamentally disagree with other people say Liberia, no opportunity. The opportunities in Liberia are crazy. But this attitude that people say until they get a right government in place, they will not do nothing. They will just be fighting until they get the right government in place. It's not happening soon. Because any government that can, even Jesus Christ can right now run and be president, Jesus Christ will struggle in Liberia. Even Jesus come today, he participates in 2029 election and he wins. He will struggle. You know why? Because the people he get to a point that from the same Liberia population, he can't go Togo or Ghana or Nigeria. He has to deal with that same convoluted population that we have to select all kind of Koyukaya people from among it, some of them looking correct until they get in government office. He will have to work with the same legislature. That legislature not changing soon. That is seeing people. So what we need to do as young people, especially those in Liberia, the same way the bad people can come to Liberia, exploit the lack of regulations and make millions of dollars. All these BM guys and black money people, all of them can come to Liberia. They exploited the Fula Jalo from Guinea, crosses to Liberia and start selling fire coal in a year. All buying coal from the Fula Jalo. In 1 year time, the Fula man made enough money. He buy bread and tea shop. We BB bought them, we take our girlfriend and boyfriend and we carry them there to buy bread and tea and eat it and roast their meat. In another 2 years, the Jalo opened convenience store. In that 2 years, the Jalo hired 2 people, 2 of us, who are buying bread and tea, use our own money hire us to be selling in a store. So in 5 years, the Jalo evolved from selling fire coal to 2 convenience stores in front of our, they're not voodoo. It's consistency, it's discipline, it's focus. So to you young people, you may not have what you need, but what you have is what you have. You must utilize what you need to its fullest. You now have a learning center. You know how much money people make from India designing flyers? That when people can be passing around with their phone, they say they're making content. Only stupid things and causing people man cost they can put on social media. You know how much kids make from doing YouTube channels? Some of them are making up to $3,000 a day. Right? Wodemaya, that kid from Ghana, who now goes around the place with millions of followers and presidents are inviting him. It started with making content, educational content about African countries. So to young people, yes, we should pressure government to do better, but it's in your own hands to do what you can within your means. You're not crippled. If you not get a job, find somewhere that you can go and volunteer every day, because you know what it will do for you? It will help you to demonstrate your competence, but it will help you to learn new skills. It will also help you to build a network. To the Learning Center, for example, on a Saturday, the cleaners were there volunteering from the community to just come and help clean. Guess who showed up? President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. She sat there for a long time with one-on-one on them. They would not have met or have that opportunity if they were not there. So I have no excuse for productivity. When you don't have opportunities, step out there, volunteer, find spaces of productivity than sitting down to the house and crying all day because the government bad. So you're only waiting for 2029. Then not because of bad dream will say we'll not sleep. While we wait for 2029, the country must continue to function until we get to that point.
Excellent. Mr. Leo, let me challenge you a little bit here. You said earlier that before constructing the Learning Center, you did some feasibility work. And you started back 6 years ago. That quite some time, very long time for any feasibility study. Now, a child sitting in say West Point, Nucru Town, the area that they're totally disadvantaged. They're asking themselves, I see Mr. Leo, Mr. Jackson talking all this beautiful talk. Seem to be people-centered, seem to be futuristic. The now, the present, the urgency, he's saying it all. But I don't see how he got me captured in all of this. Did his data let him down as far as mind borrow is concerned? Because here in West Point, I don't get captured in government thinking. I am completely outside the thinking of government. I don't think I even exist on the peripheral as far as government is concerned. I've been here for decades. I've been in the slum. Now I see this young, brilliant Liberian philanthropist going out there, bringing in the resources, but yet he came and did the same thing as my government. Where did I go wrong? He's asking that question, Mr. Leo.
Thank you.
What say you?
Thank you, Chief, for relaying that actual very real concern of what would be from a young kid in West Point or Nucru Town or Looking Town. But to break the news to you, I would say, in fact, there are also young people from West Point, Looking Town, and Nucru Town that have broken that barrier because we have a 15-seated Ford Forester van that targets certain communities that picks up kids from some of the most underprivileged slums and bring them to the center. And Point 4 and Niku Town is one of those communities. But that's on a smaller scale. What has happened on the bigger scale is that for a long time, the government and everybody told that young boy or young girl in West Point that something like the Learning Center was not possible. That's why they were building mediocre townhouses and town or funny places calling it resource center. For a long time, somebody told that young boy, young girl in West Point that it was not possible for them to grow up in that kind of poverty and facilitate transformational change.
Well,
And
I gotta hold you there, Mr. Lee. I see where you're going.
Go ahead.
I see where you're going. But the question is, then you showed up.
Yeah.
And then you follow in the footstep of the government to
I
tell them that
know.
they are not better enough. In fact, I'm taking this to Painesville, where at least the people there are much better. They can drink pipe-on water. I mean, they can see some beautiful cars passing around, you know, good air. Nobody got to come and poop on the beach and they, you know, that scent come and blow them in the face while they're eating or sleeping. You, Mr. Leo, took the path of the government.
Yeah, and I would say fundamentally that child to educate them that they're wrong. Because 5 minutes away from Gorbachev Market, a slum now that is even worse in some cases than areas in West Point, where I grew up, where I saw plastic bag, burger wheat by cup. If you go to Red Light, I challenge you, if you ever in Liberia and know somebody, send them to Red Light, Gorbachev, and see what's going on there. You will forget West Point. So I can tell that child that the part of Painesville we went was not on the Marshall Highway, was not in Congo Town. We went to Red Lake, Gorbachev Market, where till today's date, a market that is impossible for anybody to go to. In fact, the whole country avoids red light. The Una market where you can be driving as your car is moving, the guys are unscrewing the house cap from your tire to steal it as you are driving today.
Yes.
That's where we went. And that's where we showed that it was possible. And we didn't bring in different people. One of their own sons who grew up selling in those markets. I know what those markets are down Shuka Hill. It's the place we invented a song, lift him up higher. If you go in that place with your bag on your shoulders, we cut it. By the time you say roll, you see your bag fling in the air to the next corner. The person catch a flinger. You see your bag travel till it disappears in thin air. That is the neighborhood that we're working in. So to that child, I would say, we didn't have the resources to target every one of those neighborhoods. But if we can prove that it is successful in red light, if we can make it work in red light, we can make it work in West Point. And I'm also telling that child that if your representatives show up again to make noise, then look at your representative in his face and tell him, how could Leo have done that in red light? Who is one man, not elected, not hold any power, does not have access to county development funds. How could he have managed that in red light? And you here with access not only to power, but every year county development fund, with every 2 years, $40,000 to buy your car, with scratch card, with allowance for calls. How can you not be able to do it if Leo could have been able to actually do it without any of the things that you have? For me, that may be one small step for that child. But what it has done, it has put that child on notice that if it can work in red light market, then when Leo makes a case, those children in West Point are able to back it up. When Leo goes to West Point and say, we want to build a learning center in West Point 2, we want to build one, there will be no hesitation in their minds to know that, yes, we went to the one to a red light because Leo brought a bus and took us from there and we saw it. So yes, it can happen here. And that may be one small step, but the process of nation building is a long process. And so I'm hoping that we can keep pushing this step gradually till we reach those children in West Point, in Niku Town, in some of those slums that only God knows how people survive there.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so let me be little. Let me be
with the whole stool.
I'm sorry.
I say I beg to differ with you.
Okay, chip in. Come in.
Okay. My first question here was, why did you build the place in Painesville? Was it land issue? Do you want for Leo to go to West Point and start breaking people's houses down, and even people on the show will be bad-mouthing him? To go to New Crew Town and start breaking people down? how many acres of land or how many acres or lots government has in West Point? How many lots government has in Ukru Town?
Let me come in there, please. While you beg to differ.
Let me
The
land.
answer.
Let me land.
Let him land, Mr. Nippy. You're coming after
Go
him.
ahead. Go
The
ahead. sir.
conversation just got interesting.
Secondly,
To build a structure in those areas there, you have to break people properties down. We heard it noise any time when they were breaking Chicken Soup Factory area, the properties that were there for their goatee, they were breaking them down. Everybody know, even though that was government land now, that people build, everybody will buy more things or the Ellen government. So we have our son coming from Canada and looking for government land to help our children. And I know go by job.
But Mr. Nippy, I'm sorry, Mr. Nuba, are you saying if he had went to the borough of Ukru Town or West Point and met with the leadership there, he would not have gotten a piece of land? I don't think so. Mr. Nippy,
The kind of land we're talking about, he would not have gotten it.
you can't get it. You can't get it.
Let me Mr. Nippy. I'll come back to you. Let me Mr.
Nippy.
You can't get it. You can't get it. It's a simple thing. You see, where is the will? There is a will. Leo had a will, and he explored and maximized the way by asking questions, and he found a place in Pinsville, which is central almost to Kakata and then Greater Monrovia. In West Point, we are forgetting something that is incumbent upon the government. All lands are owned by the government of the Republic of Liberia. And if Leo has that mind to create, to replicate what he has in Pinsville, the land can be sought in West Point. All he has to do is to inform the government, I see this place, survey there. But here's the plan I need for you to do. We will be relocating 10,000 people. Can we find a place elsewhere and build some prefab houses for them? See, like what is in Ghana's build prefab houses for them and then build a learning center here. But it also depends on population. If the population is not going to be for those that are central to West Point, but it's going to be, say, Valtown, Central Monrovia, Slip Wheel, and Snapper Hill. So you in those vicinity, you can come down to West Point and you do this learning center. So it's possible by eminent domain.
Okay.
It is possible. My final point, sir. My final point. Every biosoul needs biomedicine. When you get malaria, the only way you can get better is by sticking your butt with a needle. Excuse me for using the word butt. Your buttocks with the needle. Yes, it is painful, but there is a value. There is an enhanced value.
Yeah.
So removing 10,000 people and relocating them elsewhere and building something. Because what this young man is doing, the dream of this young man is what a leader should be doing. This guy is, Mr. Johnson is talking about transformative leadership. Leadership that thinks about the population, not the grown people like me who got gray hair in my beard, but people who are much younger than he is. And people that are just after him, those are the people he's thinking about. Okay. So if the government, with an intentional mind, the government is ready to produce people for tomorrow to hand that baton of custodianship of the Republic of Liberia, the government should not find it difficult to moving people. The last point is that in Ukru Town, let me hit the point right away. Let me hit the point right away before I forget my thought.
Okay.
You can interspice that learning process at the D12 High School. What will you do? Leo was trying to talk to the people in Harlem to claim D12 High School by building a bulwark along the beach and expand D12 High School and make it into a technical vocational learning center.
We will ask Leo to consult with you on that bulwark. I think that's a great idea.
I love Leo.
Yes, please do. Mr. Johnson, I want to be future. Well, not futuristic anyway. I want to be present and now. At the Learning Center, I know I heard you spoke, but what I didn't hear, and I'm thinking you probably just because you have so much to share, so you didn't slip that in the conversation. Because I know you're aware around the guys, so this is part of your plan as well. But what are we doing in terms of AI? It is the future. It is the now. It is the future. It is the decades and decades from now. It is incorporated in the water we drink, in the dreams we have, in the clothes we wear. It is everywhere. We have been consumed by AI. But I didn't hear you talk about AI with respect to the Learning Center, sir. Please.
I'm so glad you asked this question about artificial intelligence, right?
Thank you for breaking it down.
I will underline the word intelligence. So intelligence must exist to have the artificial to it. So we're looking at societies who have developed intelligence, right? Around information technology and all of that. So building the artificial on it is the easiest part. The thing with AI is that AI does not remanufacture data. What AI is doing is repurposing data in an efficient manner at like speeds that we've never seen and allowing you to reorganize things in a way that can produce new things. That's what AI is doing. The challenge we have in Liberia is what we are trying to address. To build that same intelligence, you cannot jump to AI. It will be a fool's errand. We'll be training people to leave from Liberia to come here again. You don't even have access to computer systems that are running legal softwares. We got computers sitting in government BP offices that are still running illegal Microsoft Office software that are illegal, that don't have the licenses. So what we are trying to do is to build the intelligence at the Learning Center, which is why we are paying $1,200 to $1,500 per laptop for state-of-the-art type of machines to build the digital literacy and intelligence that is required, because to build AI, you must have collected the data. So I will tell you what we're doing at the Learning Center. As I'm sitting here right now, I can tell you today who went to the Learning Center, when they went there, what time of the day, which community they came from, and they are coming from as far as Bensonville and Banga. I can tell you today the name of every single individual that went to the Liberian Learning Center. I can tell you when they logged in and when they logged out and how long they were there for. It is that type of quality of data that you take and add the artificial to it to manipulate. So, for example, if I wanted to understand trends as to which part of the Liberian population, where is it trending in terms of engaging with information technology, I get the artificial part. I import that data, AI will manipulate it for me and then suggest to me that based on the trends in this data, you need to build 10 more learning centers. That's the power of artificial intelligence. Or it will let me know, say, from what we are noticing, the age group of people accessing information technology in Liberia is 18 and below. That's the biggest number. But we don't have any of that. The reason we took 6 years doing research, because there's no data. Nobody could tell me how many schools are in Liberia. Nobody knows. So without the organization of that intelligence and that data, AI is useless to you in that context of Liberia. So to answer your question, I can promise you that in the next 3 to 5 years, because what we've been able to collect in 1 year alone, we will start to sample. Our team is already working on building a system that speaks Kolokwa. That you can take it on your app and open your phone and speak Kolokwa to the team and tell it what kind of book you're looking for. And it will tell you, say, where the book is located in the Learning Center, if it is not located, to help you find it. They're already building a local AI system on that. So we are experimenting with this, but to your point, the urgency of building the foundation that we need. It's not Liberia alone. Most African countries are struggling because they have the same disorganized data sets. So there's no data. AI, if you tell AI to go find something in a place you send it to find, that's also stupid thing. It will organize all the stupidity and spit it out to you and give you projections based on your stupidity that you send it to.
Garbage in, garbage out.
Garbage in, garbage out. So that's the kind of work that we are hoping to really do.
Okay, excellent. Ms. Ali, let me ask you, are you still with us for the length of the time, for the time we have?
I gave them the veteran said I didn't have a choice, so yeah.
Okay, great. Chris, I know you're there up to, we'll try to put you at least for 20 minutes, Chris. Bear with us. So let's go around the table again for another round of questioning. Let's start with you, Veteran Smith. Veteran Smith, your 2 questions, sir.
Let me touch on electronic library. The reason I bring in this question are Morgan State University, because of Maryland State once owned the territory of Maryland. They wanted that collaboration and invited Elaine. They had a big something in the state of Maryland. But they wanted to construct electronic library. I don't know whether they have completed it in Maryland. I want you, with an electronic mind that you have, it's like electronic library, will it help Liberia? If so, how?
Thank you so much, Veteran Smith, for this question, because I've just been addressing this issue. I think, first of all, people need to take a step back and define what an e-library or a digital library, as we call it, e or digital library. That's the term. So I would say this to you. An e-library, electronic or digital library, is an organized online collection of digital resources, such as ebooks, journals, videos, and databases accessible via the internet. That is all an e-library is. So yes, the Liberian Learning Center is a full e-library. Full e-library. In fact, what we're doing right now, we are integrating our systems with the Hamilton Public Library in Canada, so that any resource you can access here in Canada in our library, you'll be able to access it in the Learning Center. So I think people sometimes get confused. They think an e-library is a whole separate thing. In fact, in a country like Liberia, an e-library immediately right now will not be very effective. Close to 75% of all the people who use digital resources in Liberia are using small mobile phone. They don't even know how to operate a laptop or a computer. And you cannot fully access e-resources using your small mobile phone. There are all kinds. In fact, some of the PDFs will not open because it's too huge. The files are too big to even open it on your phone. So the Learning Center right now is a full e-library. We have both capabilities, hard copies and a full electronic system for materials that do have electronic versions. Now, mind you, there are some materials that still don't have electronic versions. They only exist in hard copy versions. So as we speak, the Learning Center is fully electronic as an e-library right now. You can go to the Learning Center and use only computers and internet and don't touch any book if you so choose to use resources online. So to answer your question, yes, I think an e-library, the more e-libraries we can have, the more it will start to force people to start learning digital literacy. Being able to operate a mobile phone is not digital literacy, my people. To be able to post on Facebook and post on TikTok is not digital literacy. Those are just social media platforms. Digital literacy is your ability to use the productivity tools, digital productivity tools in an efficient manner, and the devices that they must be operated through.
My next question would be the importance of Wi-Fi, free Wi-Fi on college, high school campuses like the university. They want for the student then to do everything electronically for the courses, the registration, but they don't have the money. How will, if the president comes to you to recommend how that can be implemented in high school, elementary, the importance of Wi-Fi access to all school, all university, what would be your recommendation?
My first recommendation to the president would be, before you take the speck out of people, I take it out of your Air Force. The Liberian government system has no data management centers. Zero. All of the top Liberian government officials, most of them running the ministry on their Gmail and Yahoo accounts as we speak. So let me tell you the danger. If our minister right now, let's say I do something, the president got there and fire me tomorrow, I will leave my ministerial job with all the ministry data, contracts, complicated stuff in my Gmail. And if I vest, and I came there to nobody. Whoever the new minister coming, you will start from square zero as if nothing will happen. You will not even know who we've been talking to. You will not know what kind of contract we have in the process. You will not know nothing. So the first thing we need to do is to take control of data management in the country. Because the danger as we speak, most of our data things are in the hands of foreign companies. Our election data, Anybody can carry it in the hands of foreign company. We got no rules. We got no laws around privacy and data management in Liberia. Any foreign company can come to Liberia tomorrow and start collecting people's private data and take it with them wherever they want to take it and use it for whatever purposes they want to use, including date of birth, passport information, the birth data information, including health information as well. We don't have the rules. So the first thing I will say to President Bouaka, he asked me today, look, there are so many examples of this legislation. Rwanda has done it. Ghana has done some of it. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. Let's look at what type of practical legislation other African countries that we can compare ourselves to comparably, how they've done it, and start to figure out how we can adapt some of it. That's the first thing I will do. In terms of provision of internet on campuses or so, once you get them, because you need to regulate how it's used, or else you'll be opening another criminal syndicate like we see in Nigeria and other countries where they have become crime hubs, where people are using it to defraud people in countries on a mass scale. And you don't want your country to be red listed as that. Because if you open that up to everybody with no regulations, trust me, the criminals will just build. Right now, we're dealing with drug trafficking issues. Imagine giving criminals access to more tools with no regulations. So that is the first thing that needs to happen. Once we have that infrastructure in place, providing internet on school campuses is the easiest thing. In fact, it's cheap. It's not an issue of money. It's a simple infrastructure, especially with Starlinks now, with what Elon Musk has done with Starlinks now. I can tell you for less than $5,000 a year or close to that, you can provide quality internet infrastructure for any school campus. And one is at top speed and reliable. But if you don't create the organized infrastructure to manage it, somebody will just get very one and take down the whole government system, period. And there's absolutely nothing. Somebody will get very one and take the central bank offline. And there's absolutely nothing. Somebody can ever want to enter the account of the central bank using those same tools that you have introduced because you got no proper security and data management systems around them.
Okay. Let's go to you, Mr. Napier.
Well, it was good that what I was coming to was just spoken by Nopo, Mr. Johnson. The question of security. I am very concerned about all of the energy you have mustered in the learning center. You have brought it to this far, and your dream is to marshal the scene throughout the Republic of Liberia. My concern here is security. I don't know, but I surmise that you will be giving books out to students or will be students. And what I'm telling you happened to the University of Liberia that depleted its library, where individuals on Broad Street, if you have gone to Broad Street or on the former education ministry, most of the books were found there. So like we take it from there, we bring it on Broad Street, and the student come there and buy the books from there and carry it back to the university. What mechanisms do you have that will secure those books? If I, Christopher Napier, had run into your center and say, I need a book on public management or on sociology or politics, what mechanisms do you have in place that I can bring the book on time, read it on time, or even if it is a short window or a long window, but the book is returned? What protection mechanism do you have in place?
Thank you, Mr. Napier. So I will begin by saying right now, we're not doing that, but you're right. We're already planning on thinking through that now, and the security. Okay. So here's what we're doing in the first place. The first thing is there are two processes we are investigating right now. One is what we call premium membership. So to have that ability to take books home means you have to have more vested valuable in the center. So we will start introducing premium memberships for people who want to be able to take resources with them from the center. So the premium membership will be designed in a way where besides your actual membership fee, there are actual collaterals that are equivalent to the replacement, valuable enough for the replacement of a book that you take away. Those collaterals are just held for security. And, we're not taking it. If you take the book, respect all the privacy policies about it, and return it, your collateral is taken back, right? If you don't return it, fine. We have enough collateral valuable that we are able to repay that book. Using that collateral, you forfeit it, you actually lose it. So those are the two ways we are experimenting, and you don't have to be a premium member. If you're a regular member, you also need to commit that collateral to take a valuable resource from the Learning Center to take it home, knowing that if you don't return it, the same thing the bank does to all of us, right? If you go to the bank to take away the bank money, fine. They will hold a collateral from you that if you cannot return their money or pay their money back on time or whatever, that collateral is forfeited for them to be able, even if we don't recover everything, but we'll be able to recover a significant portion of whatever it is through the collateral. So that's what we are actually considering. Or else you save the time for yourself, come to the center, spend the hours that you need to spend there and do what you have to do. But to have that privilege, like I said, we are entitled to our rights, but we pay for privileges.
Okay. My second question will be followed by a recommendation to the studio, contingent on what all of the things we have just talked about. Are you prior to this time, the William V. Stockman High School was equipped with vocational material such that if you graduated from the William V. Stockman High School on 12th Street, you did not just graduate with a certificate in your hand, a high school graduate. You had to be, it was equivalent to, let me put it short, it was equivalent to the Booker Washington Institute. What is your thought in that direction to see how you can speak with the administration of Stockman High to reinstitute? And because what you are doing is geared toward positioning Liberia for the next 20 years, 30 years, even when you are not there. So is there a thought on your mind to see how you can transfer this technology to the W.V. Stockman High School?
Thank you, Mr. Nepe. In fact, there is a thought on my mind to do this as many places as we can, but I think I will go back to my point I made about the big man and big woman syndrome in Liberia. And that after all these years of us publishing the research, showing the exploits, for the grand opening of the Liberian Learning Center, President Boakai was on hand with most of his cabinet ministers. President Boakai said, and I quote, "We all can agree that this is going to be one of the most important investment in post-war Liberia," unquote. Those are the words of the president. What that tells me, if I were a cabinet minister and my boss man stood in the open public and said, this thing here is going to be one of the most important investments in post-war Liberia's history, immediately that's my marching orders to say, my people, we got to work with this thing to make it work. We got to engage with these people to see how we can leverage it. But I don't want to lie, Mr. Nepe, as much as I love to work, I'm one man. My team is small. For me to be trying to engage all these people to state the obvious, it shocks me instead of putting my energy in a learning center where it should be. So yes, I really want to. But there are times where it gets very exhausting when you're trying to convince people about something where the president of the republic has said, this is going to be one of the most important investments in post-war Liberia. So I am open, number one, and all these things we are testing at the learning centers, there's no reason why it can't happen at UL or at Tottenham High or wherever that is. Even standards, right? But again, I am the big man, big woman syndrome in Liberia is exhausting. It can wear you down. And then what gets funny? When you start fanning around these places, people start having funny feelings, thinking you are there looking for a job or looking for something else.
Absolutely.
Or trying to do something else. So for me, that whole negative energy, look, trust me, if the principal of William V. Stockman called me today, I will show up. I will pay attention to that courtesy call. If the minister calls me today, I will be there. And we will have a constructed agenda, for why we are sitting down to talk and explore. But for me to go be the one knocking to say, I guess something good, you want to explore it? You want to see it? Yeah. It's exhausting, and to be honest, emotional and mental energy it takes is not easy.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Mr. Nubo.
Just before you go to Mr. Nubo, I just want to say one recommendation. One recommendation. Then I want to put, because I got somewhere to go. Please. It's not going to take even 1 minute. 30 seconds, please. I crave your understanding. Today we have a son of our soul, a man who lived in the red light area, and God has transformed him for today, not only, but for the future of Liberia. By you and through you and with your effort, and that of the managing director and the board of directors of Top FM, I'm appealing that we sell this good idea, very excellent idea of Mr. Johnson. I always like to call him Nopol. But when he introduced himself to me, he said, Mr. Nippy, I'm Nopol. I was in Canada at the time. He met me at a restaurant. And for him to be able to replicate, introduce, transfer this kind of knowledge across our country, he needs only 50% of the $30 million. And this is where we come in. To broadcast to the government, to be consistent. Even if it's for 2 minutes every day, whenever we have a guest on the show, we can use that. Because what this Mr. Johnson has brought about is like you wanted to go and dig diamond, but the diamond are just falling right in your place. And all you have to do is to sell it, go to the place and weigh it, and they tell you the value. And this knowledge is invaluable. It is more than a diamond. So I beg your indulgence and understanding that you will pass that on to the CEO so that we can have that on our program. With that, let me say thank you to Mr. Nopol. Please don't frown about me calling you Nopol instead of Leo. I know you have
that is my favorite name, Mr.
Right, and that's how you call yourself when you met me in Canada. You are like a leopard, and you were leaping all over the place. So I want to commend you for all of the brilliance that you have, not only keeping it in your mind, but for it to come out in the form that you have exhibited. Thank you so much. I beg to leave, and that would be my parting comment to our guests.
All right, Mr. Nippy, thank you so much for being part of today's show. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow here, same place, same time.
And salute to Mr. Dupol and the audience.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Nippy, I'm sorry, Mr. Nubo, you have 2 questions, sir.
Okay, maybe like before, I will have 2 comments to make.
Okay.
Mr. Johnson, I like the way you answered the AI question. We do not have data. And here, he dropped out. Maybe he can't understand. He can't hear me.
Yeah. So, so instead of complaining, he just drop out and come back. Smart man. He said, I'm not going to complain. I'm just going to drop and come back.
If he doesn't hear me, then I have to.
I wasn't hearing you. That's why I dropped off.
Okay. Do you hear me now?
We figured that.
Okay. Now what we figure out. I say I like the way you answer the AI question. And when you go to school here and you making research on Liberia, I mean, it's hard for you to find information. It's hard for you to find information. So no, you have to look for other information and mimic that, for Liberia, which is not right. And the data center, or not the data center, the learning center you are building, if that were in the US here, you are going to use the shape files from the Census Bureau. I mean, that's why they want to build police stations. That's how to find out. They want to build schools. That's how to find out. But we don't have those kind of data from the Census Bureau in Liberia. So no, I applaud your effort, and maybe we have to join you, to be knocking on the doors of all these people here, to see what we can do, for the government to get involved. It's good that Joe Boakai was there, that he knows the place, he knows about it. So when somebody starts beating on a door, he will know what the person is talking about. So I thank you very much.
All right. Mr. Leo, I have a comment, very short, and then a question. And then we'll go into our closing. So, are you aware that the government just received $88.67 million for education? And I was through some mixed funding, some grant, some loans. And I see you shake your head in confirmation. What do you make of that? Because I look at some of the things they're doing with the money, and I'm shaking my head, and I can't believe what's going on. Talk to us about that, please.
Yeah, no, thank you, Chief, for that point. Yes, I'm aware of the $88 million funding the government received. And there's a thing about Liberian governments traditionally, not just this government, successive governments.
Yes.
Two things. One, government has to look for every way possible that it is not the implementer. The difference here is that because government has not been able to raise its own revenue, it's going out, finding this money, sometimes borrowing it, sometimes getting it through grants. So it has confused its role with being the implementer. Think about it. If we actually had that money in our budget, that money would have been used to identify the players in the system that implement this. Then that gives government the ability to do quality assurance, oversight management, and all of that, right? But almost like you design your own project, you doing your own project, you reporting to yourself. It's really hard for you to figure out what are you doing, because you're not going to tell you says I'm doing poorly.
Hey, you're wrong, yes.
It's difficult. You will find every way to make yourself look good. But I know Liberia is also challenged that sometimes you wouldn't find the players, given how challenged our country is. So I think what I will employ the government and the Ministry of Education to do, there are all kinds of effective players already on the ground, right? In the education sector that are doing amazing work. We ourselves being one of it with the Learning Center. Why are we not convening these groups? And what I see sometimes, I know they may be working with some groups, but it looked like they want to go to these groups that they got some kind of connection with. And I can understand that maybe they build a trust with them or whatever, but I would encourage the Ministry of Education and the government to take a scan in the education space, look at the outcomes of what that project, what that funding is to achieve, take a scan in the space of who's doing what in that space, engage these partners to see, even if they don't take on everything, are there specific portions, right, that certain partners can take on? Because what you end up doing when you do that, you strengthen the sector so that even after the funding ends, those key players are now all players in that space because you've elevated their capacity. So your partnership with them continues even after the funding. Even in the West, I work with school boards here. School boards themselves in the West that are so funded don't have enough resources to do all of the programs. So what they do, they bring in system level players. When you go into some of these schools, you will see the after school program is not run by the school. It's run by probably the local YMCA or a different organization that actually runs the after school program. If you see the after school care, if you see the tutoring program, they're different organizations, but the school board has brought them into the ecosystem to have them as part of that ecosystem as partners. They provide them funding as well. In some cases, they provide them the facilities to run those programs because for them, the outcome for their students is what matters rather than them being the school board trying to do everything. So I will employ the government to not get caught in that trap, especially the Ministry of Education, of becoming the entity that running all these programs across the country. You will struggle with measurement indicators. You will struggle with oversight management. You will struggle with milestone measurements that are supposed to tell the ministry, say, are we doing well? Or can we sit back and get the data from what these people are doing and see where they are doing well, where they are not doing well, to critique to oversight, to ensure, to tell them, say, no, this is not good enough. We needed to get to 10 more percent. I don't know what is going on, to be fair. And, I'm not involved with the Ministry of Education, so I don't know what is happening. But I'm just putting these suggestions forth that these are the types of ways we need to think about deploying these funding so that the impact of it goes beyond the lifespan of the funding, so that when that funding from the World Bank ends, we don't have an immediate drop again immediately. And like we have this plethora of programs. The moment the funding ends, we drop. We saw it with USAID. All the years USAID has been, the moment USAID started to cut off the funding, it looked like USAID hasn't been here for over 25 years.
Yeah. And in my line of work, Mr. Leo, we prioritize what we call sustainability. If we put a pole in that ground, and we put it up for a certain period, we got to be able to sustain that pole in that ground. So we develop a sustainment plan for that. Bro, we don't do that. First of all, we don't even do. They put getting capital projects without planning for long term. I don't understand that. I mean, it's just across the country. I asked a question because of the question Mr. Nubo asked. Spoke of that. The president went to your center. Well, now your center, I take that back, the learning center. And I wondered, okay, if he went there and saw such a beautiful work, put down there by a young guy in his organization, and he got this huge amount of money, did he ever thought about calling this guy and said, Mr. Leo, how can I fund your organization to replicate this thing across the country? That's why I asked that question about the 88 million, because that's a lot of money.
Or even access. Let's look at the area of the Monrovian environments. One of the problems we have in our school is the lack of standardization and access to standard educational materials. So where do you expect the children going to Voca Mission High School to all get access to the algebra book?
Right.
To all get access to the textbooks that I needed when we got no bookstore in Liberia that sell textbooks. So even those with the money, unless you get someone overseas that you can call to look for you and send it, even if you have the money, you don't have access. So even something like the Learning Center could partner with you to say, okay, the ministry will curate what type of books we want the kids to access. Let's do an experiment with the high schools in Monrovia, public high schools. We will curate it and we will procure them and have them at the Learning Center to promote equitability. The people who got money that can buy from overseas for their children, that's great. But what about the hundreds and thousands who don't have it? They will have that same equilibrium because they can now come to the Learning Center. Those books are there available for them anytime they need to use it and don't have to be denied access because their parents don't have the physical or the finance to actually do it. So there are all kinds of practical ways. So for me, I think it would be great for the Ministry of Education to start engaging partners in the space and then evaluating which partner might be able to help them leverage those resources to get more out of it. Because if kids are already coming to the Learning Center anyway, you don't need me to go do jamboree across the country to encourage them to come. They're already coming. So that saves you some money actually engaging them there. But again, those are just suggestions and thoughts and recommendations.
Absolutely. Well, Mr. Leo Johnson, this is where we say we have come to the end of the road. We really, really do appreciate your time. You have been nothing but excellent, sir, and you truly know what you're doing. You're going some places. Liberia is absolutely fortunate to have you, and you are one of our prides. And we wish you God's blessing and all the good fortunes that should come your way, so that you can do more to elevate the education of our country, its infrastructure, and continue to infuse the new idea, the new thinking, and the new processes that we need in order to educate tomorrow's leaders. At this point, I want to ask you to please give us your parting comments and what you think should be done going forward. And we look forward to seeing you tomorrow again.
Absolutely. I'm pretty sure this is not my last time on this show.
Thank you.
How things have gone. So yes, but I would say to everybody, thank you also to the entire team, to the veteran himself, Mr. Fred Smith, but to you as well, Chief, and to you, Chris, in Liberia, that making sure everything works and connects. I know how difficult that is. So
yes,
to
sir.
you, Mr. Nuba as well. I know Mr. Nipe left, but thanks to all of you for the honor of being on your show and part of this conversation. My parting comments will be this. Short term, for those who are worried about access to the Learning Center and the cost of it, we're about to launch a campaign to raise money for 5,000 new memberships. So if you're interested, it's $20 a piece. We'll be recruiting ambassadors for people who want to be. In fact, former Minister of Commerce, Aksa Ade, raised money not too long ago for 100, him alone. So it's $20 a piece. 100 membership, for example, I think would be about $2,000. That's 100 net membership. You can even allocate it. If you knew a public school in Liberia, very impoverished, that you wanted to support, you can allocate it if you have. So we'll be launching a campaign on May 23rd. I will definitely share the information with you all. There will be multiple ways you can do it on our website. Yourself can set it up, all kinds of ways. Our goal is that by December 31st this year, we got 5,000 new members to target neighborhoods and young people who may not still be able to access because of financial barriers. So join us. The long term is we are planning for phase 2, will be groundbreaking in December. So we're fundraising. We still have a $500,000 goal to get to. If you want to learn about ways that you can support or be a part of the movement, please reach out to me as well. And if you have some suggestions and expertise and recommendations that you want to bring forth that could help us do better, please also, we are very open to that. But thank you, everybody. Liberia has to go to nation building. We cannot keep doing quick impact projects. Nation building is a process of 30 to 50 years, and I implore you all to join us on this movement.
Excellent. Excellent. Gentlemen, I want to say a quick goodbye to Mr. Leo before he leaves the screen. Very short now. We got no time.
Goodbye, Leo Johnson, CEO Leo Johnson, for your expertise and what you do for Liberia.
Goodbye, Mr. Johnson. Thank you. Mr. Johnson.
Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye, everyone. Thanks.
Yeah, goodbye, Mr. Johnson. Thank you so much. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
All right, gentlemen, this is where we call it a day. All right, gentlemen, this is where we call it a day. It's very late to Chris. It's very late to Chris when you got to leave. All right. So it was a great show. Look forward to seeing everybody back at tomorrow. Mr. Nubo.
Thank you.
Nubo. See you all.
Thank you.
All right. See you tomorrow, Chris.
Have
a night.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Wright. Have a great time. So, folks, this is how we come to the end of the program. I bet to D4, and I bet to D4 take break, and it will be back tomorrow, the same time, the same station. My name is Chris Beware. Have a great time. Today is my birthday, huh?